stars.
You can still love me.
I do. I love you all the time. But our First Amendment rights are huge. They are very important to me. They should be important to everyone. Don't be a public official if you don't want to be filmed, ma'am.
Megan Fox.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Get out of here.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Megan Fox. I am a journalist. I am an author. I am a YouTuber, and I can't wait to talk to you today. There's some crazy, crazy stuff going on, but I need to bring my guests into the show first. Let's bring in Legal Vices, who is stateside.
Woo.
How are you?
Hey, woo! How's everybody doing?
Fantastic. How's your vacation going here in the great United States?
So far, so good. I know all the women and the gays are like sighing in disappointment that my handsome mug isn't on camera today, but it's awkward. I'm in a house with like 7 people, and everybody took the day off so that we could all hang out today through the weekend. So the house is full.
And I've stolen you.
Of course, nobody still knows that I do this YouTube stuff. I'm still keeping it like quiet.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and my brother's like, I'm watching all these other law tubers recently. I'm like, I'm like one step away. But anyway,
and he still doesn't know?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So right now I'm essentially laying prone on a daybed in my sister's walk-in closet next to an orange Burmese ball python.
Shut the front door. This is so crazy.
Yeah. I got a little mango, the ball python there next to me, laying on this daybed in my sister's closet. So
this is so nuts. And joining us as always is IT Goatee Brad. If you guys haven't gone and subscribed to Brad's new channel, he has a channel. It's called IT Goatee Brad, and you can get on there and he does live Q&As. And people are telling me, Brad, you've already changed their lives. Something about a mouse jiggler.
Yeah, so somebody had mentioned the software-based mouse jigglers, and I said, well, yeah, but a lot of people can't install stuff on their computer, so there's actually hardware mouse jigglers that you can get. And
dare I ask the obvious question here?
What is a mouse jiggler? I know, I don't even know. He's acting like I know what this is. I don't. What the hell is a mouse jiggler?
So if your work is tracking how active you are on your computer, then you buy a hardware-based mouse jiggler so that your mouse will move without you having to do anything.
No way. I feel like you shouldn't be saying this publicly. I feel like
I advise you not to get these devices.
Well, this is interesting. So if you want more about mouse jigglers, go on over to IT Goatee.
Stop saying mouse jiggler.
I bet that ball python would like a mouse jiggler.
Oh no! See, that's the thing. I like my sister's like, oh, you know, the soft drinks are out in the fridge in the garage next to the freezer, and there's some ice cream in the freezer too. So I was like, oh, okay. Here's some piece of frozen cake. Here's some ice cream. Oh, and here's a little package of dead white rats. Cool.
All right, so if you are looking for mouse jiggler information, I'm going to say mouse jiggler at least 3 more times. Head on over to IT Goatee Brad. It's at IT Goatee is his new channel, and you should subscribe. He has 1,100 and something subscribers, and you should go and subscribe over there because Brad's been really helpful not only to this program but to the entire YouTube. Everybody who I know on YouTube has been using Brad for help as well. Mm-hmm. He's very helpful. So I know we may need a mouse jiggler song. Brad, that's what you need. You need in your intro song, you need to have something, definitely add mouse jiggler in there. All right, go subscribe. All right, anyway, let's get to it because Jeff may be found out at any moment and outed. Yeah. He's literally in a closet, which is so funny. Jeff, I think you might need to come out of the closet soon. I think that might have to happen. But, you know, until then, Jeff is still in the closet, and we respect that.
Just me, Brittany, and the snake.
Brad, would you please send me the archive in the private chat to the blog that we will be reading today? Yes. All right. Before we get started, I do have a very serious announcement to make. And this is really, really important. And I'm glad that Lauren is also here. Lauren Knighty,
Hey.
welcome to the program. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
What's up?
Finally,
Yeah, you too, man.
I have it sounds like you have Jedis fighting in the background.
Does it? I'll tell them
Yes.
to be quiet. Hang on. I'm not sure what's going on here. Is that better?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
there we go.
My fan was on. You know, the fan.
Oh, the fan. I do know.
Fan's
All right. So
fair.
before we get started today, there's a very serious announcement because today's I didn't even bother monetizing this stream because this stream's topic is going to be about suicide. And I would like for all of you, if any of you are struggling with suicide or have loved ones that are, to please reach out for help. There are places where you can get help. There is a suicide hotline that you can call. I'm sure Lauren could give you more information about that, but you can get help. There is help, and you should get help. For first and foremost, on this program and every program I have seen covering this topic, including Dave Neal and everyone else, the only thing we have ever wanted for Laura Owens is for her to get help. Get help. Own up to your mistakes. We've even gone over some like scenarios where Laura could come out of this with a public relations win, right? Where we have talked about, okay, so if she admits to fabricating pregnancies, doing this to get attention, doing this to get a relationship, and then if she admits to it, says I need help, goes away and gets that help, and then she can come back and everyone would want to hear what that story was about. Like, what caused you to do this? And she could actually help some people who might be struggling with whatever it is she's struggling with that everybody knows, everybody sees. There's something that she's struggling with, and we all want her to get help. We have never, ever wanted anything bad to happen to this woman, except facing the consequences of her own actions. Now, what has happened today, and the reason why Jeff is here, and other than me begging him to be here, is that David Gingras has written a new blog with his client. The blog is one of the most inexplicable things I've ever seen in my whole life as far as what a lawyer would or should do. And I know he keeps doing crazy things, but this one might be the weirdest yet. This is the worst one yet. Because in this blog, which David and his client write together, he has allowed her to post what I interpret as being a suicide threat. And he has not only allowed her to post it, but he has encouraged her to do it. He has admitted that he encouraged her to do it. And I think we can get into many reasons why I think this is being done. But also, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen a lawyer do. Now, Jeff, you've read it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. As a lawyer, do you have any thoughts on this act that he did involving his client in this scheme or whatever this is?
Well, as far as the blog post goes, personally, I'm of two minds. One, and I would like to assume that he told her not to do this. But if she's going to do it anyway, at least this way he has a bit of control over it. So I mean, I wouldn't do it. I would certainly do everything I could to keep my client from saying anything publicly at all.
Especially before her trial.
For what are we out? 11 days out now, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. But I mean, she's going to do it anyway. May as well get a little bit of control over it.
Okay,
now, he says
well,
there's nothing. He added or took nothing away from it. I don't know if that's actually the case, but it's done regardless. It's done.
okay, but
It's
do
out
you
there.
think that there's an issue, though, Jeff, with him allowing her to write something that appears to many people of her that she, hey, Bales, thank you very much. I got your DM. I appreciate you. I got the timestamp. Thank you so much for doing that. Is there an issue here, though, where she has admitted to having these thoughts and this problem to her lawyer, and instead of, I don't know, getting her to a counselor, he allows her to open herself up to more criticism on his blog and puts her again more in the spotlight for the things she says she can't take.
Well,
Does he have an ethical obligation to get her
no,
some help?
no, not really. And I mean, there's nothing illegally done. It might be part of a strategy. It might be part of a sympathy campaign, trying to drum up a little sympathy for people. It could be part of the strategy. I don't get it, and I certainly wouldn't do it. But I guess he thinks it's the best course of action.
All right, I do think it's part of a strategy. My theory is that this is setting her up to be able to have a mental health crisis right before the trial, so she will be either hospitalized or in some other treatment center where she has no access to a phone and won't be able to show up at her trial. I believe this is all to push it out. However,
That ain't going to sit well with the judge if that's the case.
So they're actually people go to court through Zoom while they're in our psych hospital. So that is possible.
ooh,
I don't know how it is there, but that is a possibility. So it's not going to help her escape this, most likely.
And one thing to keep in mind, in Gingras's and Woodnick's emails, they both agreed that parties should be in person. So that was already established a number of weeks ago. So any attempts to try and move her away from the courtroom would be outside of that.
okay. Yeah, this is all very interesting. And I do think that obviously it's strategy. I think they're getting desperate. But on the off chance that this is a for real thing, I think it's on her attorney to do something about it instead of putting her out in the public eye. If this is really what's going on with her, then her family needs to get her some help. And we have always said, always, that this woman needs help. She should seek help. And all she needs to do is say, I have a problem. I've done these things. I'm going to go seek help for it, and then go get it. She isn't facing any criminal charges here. There's going to be no consequence legally for her to do that. None at all. She may be sanctioned and she may have to pay some attorney's fees, but that's probably going to happen anyway. Let's get through this because it's a lot of words. I'm going to play it straight today because I think the topic is serious enough that I don't really feel like I'm in a joking mood necessarily. And I'm pretty upset about what has happened here and what it is that they are intimating.
And then more than just the stuff at the end, which is the heavy stuff we're talking about, there's a lot of things to comment on throughout.
There is. So let us get started. Brad, why don't you go ahead and read through his part of it?
Yep.
You might need to embiggen that as much as possible to.
Yeah, let me do that. Jeff,
got it on my side.
would you like me to send you the link to it so you can open it? Or are you on your phone?
I'm on my tablet with my phone next to me. So.
All right, so let me get you the
It's in the private
link.
chat.
It's in the private chat, so you can pull it up
Yeah.
and make it as big as you.
But for people that want to read at home, if we enlarge it to get rid of the right margin.
Okay, let me try that.
There you go. Oh, that's perfect. That's nice.
There we go.
Yep.
All right, Brad, go ahead.
Over the Memorial Day weekend, Laura sent me a draft article blog post to review. This wasn't something we had discussed, and it wasn't something I suggested she write. She wrote this on her own, then asked me if I'd be okay with her publishing it. She doesn't need my permission to speak, but I previously asked Lauren not to make public statements about this case after I got involved. As this phase of the case is now coming to an end, I think Laura deserves a chance to share her side of the story and more details about how she is feeling today. Yes, I know there are still unanswered questions, but we will get to all that in just 12 days. For now, I'm going to share Laura's comments as written. I haven't edited any part of her remarks, nor have I added anything to them other than this intro. As I was reading Laura's post, and really since becoming involved in this case, it struck me how many parallels there are to a Black Mirror episode called Hated in the Nation. If you've seen this, if you haven't seen this, jump on Netflix and find it season 3, episode 6. Hated
Can I
in the-
pop in here for just a quick second with a comment?
Yes. Anytime you want to pop in, you pop in.
Actually, too, I can barely hear a word Brad is saying.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Brad, I can hear him great. And the chat
Yeah,
is
I can hear him
saying-
too.
Here, how about I changed it to auto? How's this? Brad, try again.
As I was reading Laura's post and really
How's
since
that?
we-
That's better.
Okay.
But excuse me. He was saying it was something that they hadn't discussed, and that she said it would be better not to do it. I mean, the important thing here is she doesn't need his permission to speak. But so that's what I was saying. I think it's, if she's going to do it, the best he can do is try to corral it as much as possible, which is what I think he's doing here. But then he goes off into Gingras mode and talks about Black Mirror, and then says, "But this case is totally different." We'll get to that.
All right. Brad, you can continue.
Hated in the Nation tells a story of several people who die mysteriously and painfully after they have found themselves targeted by angry haters on social media. We eventually learn a hacker created a game of consequences where people on Twitter can nominate anyone they dislike with a hashtag #death2. Each day at 5 p.m., the person with the most votes is killed by a swarm of robot insects, and the game starts over again the next day. I won't spoil the outcome, but the story ends with justice being served in a very strange way. The reason I mention this is because there's a scene in Hated in the Nation where a woman tells the police what it is like to be the target of hate on social media. It was like having a whole weather system turned against me. Just hate message after hate message around the clock. It's hard to describe what that does to your head. Suddenly there's a million invisible people all talking about how they despise you. Hands up, I made a mistake. But the way people enjoyed kicking me, that's what's got me.
All right. So now we have some screenshots of the episode, which I enjoyed. I've watched that. I like Black Mirror. It's a good show. It was a good episode. All right, Brad, continue.
That comment really struck me. I've been involved in some controversial cases over the years, and I've seen what online hate looks like. Most of the time, it's annoying and it can be painful, but it tends to be short-lived and everyone quickly moves on. This case, Laura's case, is different.
It's thinking like this. Like, let me tell you all about this Black Mirror episode, and then say, but this case is different. Don't talk about the Black Mirror case.
Oh Lord, here comes Dave. He's on his chair. He's
With
on
the
his
short
chair,
shorts.
folks. We've got short shorts. We're standing on the chair. Dave Neal, folks, everybody. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, let's just chalk that up to things I never needed to see.
But did you? But did you?
I think that was for my benefit. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kneecaps for needy. That's what I say.
Well, I'm the one that's literally streaming from a closet right now, so who knows?
With a ball python, which
I'll
am.
get you out of that closet in no time here. Come on. What are you guys doing? What court cases are you covering? What's going on?
we are going over this inexplicable lawyering. I don't understand it. We're going to read it, and we have thoughts. And yeah, I don't know, Dave. Dave, I'm at the end of my rope, Dave.
Oh.
Wait, I shouldn't talk about
That's
ropes
a
today.
bad one.
That was a phrasing problem.
Phrasing?
Sorry. All right, Brad, you want to keep going?
To be honest, I've never seen the level of raw, unchained, venomous hate that Laura's critics have.
Okay, that tells me this guy's never been on the internet ever.
Yeah, I mean, this is not so bad. You've got people telling her, everybody telling her, hey, get some help. Just own up to it, get some help. Everybody will back off. Nobody will talk about it anymore. You might even be able to come back and get an interview somewhere and rehab your mental health podcast or whatever, maybe even relaunch it because you have this experience now with, you've got Clayton saying, I'm not going to sue her if she just comes clean. I don't want to do anything to hurt her. People have treated her with kid gloves.
Yeah, can I just say this? I mean, this is the reason why I never said her name. It wasn't really like a defamation thing. It's because I was aware that I can't control what the internet does, but I still have to do my job. Just because the internet might have crazy people, when you get to a certain, and this is what I hate when people say, oh, I got death threats from so-and-so. The ability for a troll to send someone a death threat online is so easy. Talk to me when they send you some hard copy mail or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's always going to be 1% of people that are insane, but that can't, I mean, imagine there'd never be another story. You could never cover anything if you were held accountable for what some crazy internet person had to say about it.
Well, and then he was talking about online hate and all that. Like, the perfect way to make sure you're never exposed to online hate is don't be online. I mean, if you don't want people to dislike you, don't do a TEDx talk. Don't write a bunch of articles and submit them to papers. Don't go on TV interviews. Don't go on radio interviews. Don't do podcasts about it. Because you could be, Lord and Savior himself, and obviously somebody would send him death threats because that happened.
They'd nail you to a cross. Yes.
Someone will hate you no matter what you say or what you do.
You're so right. I mean, when a lot of like comedians kind of get popular enough where they don't need to interact parasocially with audience, they just detach. They're just gone. It's like, don't read the comment section, say what you want to say, stand by who you are, and just move on with your life. Now, we don't always have that luxury because we enjoy the comment section for the most part. But then, like the other night, Megan, you were going to battle with the comment section because there were people that were in bad faith mischaracterizing things you were saying. It happens all the time. And yet, this is part of the conversation that exists. For her to think that everyone's just evil. No, so many people in this, and this is what she's going to learn, and Tilted Lawyer is learning this, and so many, I'm sure Lauren's learned this. This audience might be the nicest audience in all of the internet. This is a really, really generous audience. She's just on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, she hasn't acted in good faith. And I mean, as far as the comments go, I get out the ban hammer. I just ban people who are acting like turds. And and you should see how many I've had to ban last week and this week. It's insane. I've got people on Twitter. You guys have probably seen the tweets at me. People calling me you effing bitch and all of this stuff for caring about a friend of mine with an addiction problem. It's really sick what's going on online. If you want to see some sickness, just follow what's going on in LawTube right now. That Laura's never experienced anything like that, I guarantee you. And the internet's a rough place. It's a rough place, which is why you have to know how to navigate it. You have to know how to block. You have to know how to not engage. Do you think that I'm ever going to log in to certain social media platforms that I've talked about before that I'll probably never speak the name of again? Am I ever going to log in there and go torture myself and read the nasty things people say about me there? Never.
It's called shopping for pain. And boy, is she doing the supermarket sweeps. She's really looking for it.
Well, I just also want to point out, like, if she really didn't want to be getting these comments, then she could, just like explain her story to her private Facebook audience, like her friends and family, and she could just be talking to them. But she's kind of baiting people, in my opinion. So,
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And when, at some point when someone has become so, belligerent about, refusing to admit they're caught when they're caught. And I said this about, this scandal last week too. When you become belligerent and you don't admit, you don't own up to it, well, people are going to do their worst. And that is just how it happens. And there's going to be memes and there's going to be comedy about it. And there's going to be laughing, because how else can we navigate this? Are we just, as journalists and people who cover these things, are we supposed to just ignore this? Okay, you're really upset, so I guess we'll stop talking about this story and the incredible lengths that this woman has gone to fabricate evidence to get men to date her. I'm sorry, but this is not a story that is just going to go away because somebody says, oh no, you're picking on me too much and I can't take it anymore. No, I just, all right. Brad, where were we at? Let's keep going.
To be honest, I've never, I mean, criticizing Laura for her actions is one thing. Laughing and enjoying someone else's pain, that's something entirely different.
Nah,
See, and I
nah,
think-
nah. Nobody's
Yeah.
enjoying her pain. We're laughing and enjoying the absurdity of this situation and of the facts of this case. Literally, nobody I know is like, oh, I hope that this woman is hurting. That's ridiculous.
And by the way, what normally happens is if you do feel that way, you then realize when you are the victor that it doesn't taste as good as you thought it would. A real victory here for anybody who's watching this is to see justice and apply that to your own world and pursue justice and happiness. And for those that are inspired in the comment section by the good deeds of others, be that good deed, be that change, be these positive things. I know, Meg, we've talked about this, how, hey, Albert Einstein, his greatest quote, he says, you have to decide you live in a friendly world or an unfriendly world. And this is something we have to think about every day. It's a practice. Every day you have to make those choices. We all have bad days, but she's starting every day on the defensive. It's a horrible place to be. And I just wish we could get to her in a way to say, look, own up, fess up. You've already admitted to all of these different lies. Just come clean. If your credibility's shot already, completely come clean. And she needs to listen to the fact that even her lawyer's profiting off of her. She's the only one not profiting off of this story. Everybody else is, including her own lawyer. Of course he's going to want to appeal. Of course he's going to be saying these things to kind of goad her on. Why are you listening to him? Like, come clean.
As a lawyer, that's one thing that people need to understand. In situations like this, quite literally, the only people that win are the lawyers. Even if you're the losing lawyer, you still win.
Mm-hmm.
You get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And he
gets paid even more if he can stretch it out.
Stretch it out. He's not even coming to her defense. He's saying, Laura believes this, Laura believes that. So it's not even like he's really coming to her defense. He's playing her like a fiddle. When's her and her mom going to realize this?
And the other weird thing is that there's a severe lack of introspection on this. Because there, at no point in this does she say, did I do anything wrong that would justify this? No, it's everyone else's problem.
Brad, I see you have a meme pulled up. Is that...
And that's a
Is that for later?
No, I mean, you can show it now. It's
Okay,
literally what I was just saying.
What's the... Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, so we're not laughing, as you said. We're not laughing at her and enjoying her pain. It's comedic criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the strongest kind. Shaming somebody for their ridiculous behavior is the way it cuts the deepest. It is a tool, and it's a very effective tool, but like, she's not done fighting it. Like, quit fighting the tide here. Just take it like a man, like everyone else does who does something wrong. Like, how many times do you see a politician get caught? They're like, all right, there's no other way out. I better apologize. I did it. Those were my dick pics. You just got to own up to it. Own up to it.
As soon as you do and you go to the treatment center or whatever, everybody forgets and moves on to the next thing. That's how the news cycle works. And you've got to, and it's hard when you have either an ego problem or some just a delusion problem. I don't know. I don't really know what her problem is, but I know that we've been telling her for months how she can make this better and how she can make this go away. It could have gone away so much quicker than this. She's had so many opportunities. Lexi Linval tried to get her to sign the document that would have made this go away for her.
Yeah, but she wasn't caught. Like, she wasn't even back then. She wasn't caught as dead wrong as she is now with the cancer documents. I mean, look, the only way that more of that information comes out is if she keeps fighting it. If she quits fighting it, I think we're kind of done with it. All right,
we're totally done. We're totally done. You know what happened this morning because of the blog post? I had to go through. I went back through Michael Maricini's texts with her, and I found suicide talk. Now, would I have? And I'm going to show that in a bit. Would I be doing that if this hadn't come out? No, I've kept, she says in this blog post that she's all upset that we have those texts. How many of them have we actually put out to the public, Laura? If we were truly trying to embarrass you and all of this stuff you say, we would have posted it online already, but no one has done that To my knowledge, I know I haven't. No one has put all your text messages with Mike Maricini out there. I've had access to them for a couple of weeks now, and I haven't done anything with them because it's not necessary. When it becomes necessary, like it is today, unfortunately, because now we have to show a pattern of her behavior of making suicidal threats when she wants something. Now it becomes necessary. It's just so upsetting.
Yeah. So Tuesday, you mentioned treatment facilities. I don't know if the world is just random or if things are kind of laid out in a way that we, for us to, experience. But Tuesday night I performed at a treatment facility, and I took the gig because it paid. And I was like, all right, I haven't done stand up in a month after the baby and this and that. And I'm driving to this gig. It's about 45 minutes outside of Nashville. It's in the middle of nowhere on a farm. It's beautiful. It's like its own ranch. I felt like I was going to some kind of cult like Waco place, but it was so amazing. And I showed up and I performed, and I thought I was going to be performing for like local Nashville youth who are having issues. I performed for San Diegans. I performed for people from New England. I performed for people all over the country. They all chose, for one reason or another, to come to this treatment facility to get help because they had addictions. Some people were jolly. Some still had bags under their eyes. Some probably attempted self-harm. Some, lost their kids. They all had these crazy stories. But to be quite honest, they all didn't look like villains. They just looked like people that were lost. And while her story has had some wild collateral damage, we all can agree that this isn't a stable person, and there is help out there, and it might not be whatever medications her mom had her on, but maybe there is help she can get. And when I performed, I felt so grateful to perform in front of those people because they were I always hear this about people in recovery, that they are the best audiences because they're not worried about trivial things. They're not worried about policing you on your words. They're worried about fucking survival. They're worried about just getting back to control of their life. If Jane really wants to get back control of her life, just fess up, lay it all out there, do the TED Talk that you were meant to do and explain why this all went down, and then move on.
Yep. And that's what we've all been saying for it all along. All right, Brad, continue.
The good news is that every case will eventually end. Yes, even this one. If justice has anything to do with it, I'm confident the outcome will be fine for Laura. Yeah, that may require an appeal to get there, but we will get there.
He knows he's going to lose. And
Yeah.
an appeal, by the way, is only going to drag this out for her, and it'll drag it out for 5 years.
But then she sues us for emotional duress or whatever. He gets paid on that one, and she loses again. It's just
none of this is good for her. None of this is good for her. This is for him. And this is the thing. This is what I wanted to say today. This is for him. And how nasty. What a low thing to do to someone who has serious problems, who should be seeking treatment and help, who should be in one of those beautiful places, focusing on getting well, instead of doing this and continuing to litigate this into eternity.
And not just litigating it, but litigating it in the public before the trial. Because the amount of time that he spent blogging and whatnot and claiming, I don't have unlimited time, I can't research these aspects of this case, while writing these blog posts and doing all these things, he could be trying to serve his client in the best way he can while still being on her side of the story. But for whatever reason, he decides that trying to be her PR manager is a better use of his time than being a lawyer and defending his client.
And look, like I've explained to her, and she obviously tried to twist this around, but I don't think she had the credibility to do so. But I explained to her, this is quicksand for you. I'm going to make money doing this. I'm going to make money covering this. And when it's all over, I might see Gingras at an airport, bar, and we're both going to talk about it because we made money off of it. And I'm banking on making money off of it by covering the right side, and that the fact that all of us are rallying people around collectively to fight for people that, Mike, Matt, Greg, and Clayton, that were all on the side of not being believed. So while they think the whole side's against them, well, it's against Jane now, but that's because it wasn't fair in the first place.
It's been 8 years, and it's been against these men for all that time. 8 years. Mike Maricini's had to put up with this. He actually, and I don't, I shouldn't say it because that was said to me in confidence, so never mind. But he has said publicly on the record that this story, her lies about him and her a protective order against him has affected his job searches. When they go through a background check for him to hire him and they come up with that protective order that is still in place, it affects his job. He can't get hired like that. This is a very serious. What about her? What about these men and their pain? You know, that's what we are concerned about right now because the evidence is against Laura. I'm sorry, but she has not been able to produce one shred of evidence that shows she had a confirmed pregnancy, not a Doppler, not a sonogram that wasn't fabricated. We have nothing from her other than a couple of HCG tests, and I've had, and there's just enough of this. She needs to admit it, move on with her life. All right, Brad, finish it up.
Until that happens, I will not leave Laura to fight this battle alone. Yes, I'm still honoring my ethical duties, but we're not at the point yet where I'm unable to do so. So if you think I'm walking away anytime soon, I'm not. With that said, here's what Laura wanted to say.
All right, here we go. Every morning begins with a jolt of panic, yanking me from what little sleep I managed to get. My name is Laura. But in the twisted world of my tormentors, aka the Justice for Clayton cult, I am Jane Doe or JD. Now, I like how she has twisted the name that was made to protect her identity into something sinister.
They're taking my name away from me. Say my name.
When she literally told people she didn't want anyone to say her name.
Yeah, and the funny thing is she was being extra litigious about people saying things about her. So the use of Jane Doe to reference her was for their own protection from being sent orders of harassment, injunctions against harassment, whatever the paperwork may be. And then to try and keep her name out of the media, but then she goes to the media and says, I'm the anonymous woman. She does all these things to put herself out there, and then once she's out there, she's like, oh, wait, no, I want to reel that back in, please.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's not the way these things work. It's just not how it works. Okay, for 9 relentless months, I've been living a nightmare that invades every aspect of my life. The moment I open my eyes, dread settles over me like a thick fog. My phone buzzes incessantly with notifications. Well, for one, turn your notifications off and delete all the apps. Delete all the apps that you keep looking at to read about you, because no one is texting her. No one's calling her. People are writing things on Reddit, and she doesn't have to do it. Look at what she says here. The first thing I do is check Reddit.
Yeah,
What?
don't.
She has a lot of support on her Facebook page. So again, I don't know why she doesn't just post to her people. Like, that's weird.
I mean, again, this is like saying I'm not going to go to those places on the internet that have threads about me that are defamatory and horrifying and, you know, whatever. I'm not going to go there every day. I'm never going to go there. So you guys can post all that shit all you want, but I'm never going to see it. So cool. You know, it's not going to bother me. Why the hell is she checking Reddit every day?
Listen, these next couple of paragraphs are things I was talking about at the beginning. Since in addition to the heavy stuff at the end, there's other stuff to talk about. I mean, this is very, very easily remedied. As you don't check Reddit. The Justice for Clayton Reddit. The only time I first of all, Discord is just a cesspool, and I don't even have a Discord. I never get on Discord. But Reddit is a very close second. So the only time I ever go on there is if I hear, oh, you know, Clayton Sides made a new filing, and I go there, I get the filing, and then I get out.
And by the way, that Reddit page has extremely strict rules. You are not allowed to say nasty things about Laura there. They will delete you. There's plenty of things that are deleted there all the time. People are allowed to talk about the case, but they're really not allowed to talk about her personally. So it's not like, I don't know what she's talking about. So
if I knew there was a place dedicated to hating me and posting horrible shit about me, Guess where I wouldn't go ever.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
just as a test, I went to a subreddit that I'm not joined to, and you have the option to mute the subreddit. So either she, for whatever reason, wants to know all of the things that she wants to by visiting it, or hasn't taken the option of muting the subreddit to ensure that she doesn't see it and anything that might be going on in it. So there's your tech tip. If there's a subreddit you don't want to see, click the 3 dots on the right side and hit mute. That way you don't get notified, it won't show up in your feed, and then you can be done with it.
And honestly, when you do that, when you block people who are trolling you and you do it, they disappear from your life. They're not outside your front door. You're never going to hear from them again. You're never going to hear this again. She does not need to know any of this. Her lawyer, she has a lawyer. Her lawyer is the one who should be keeping track of whatever's being said for whatever legal action she wants to take. She does not have to do that. And her lawyer should be the one telling her that. And this is yet another reason with this inexplicable lawyering. I want to say I'm ashamed of David Gingras for his counsel of her, because I think his counsel is very unwise, that he is not counseling her to remove these apps from her phone immediately, especially after he's been told how it's affecting her, so she says, in such a negative and unhealthy way. The first thing I do is check Reddit, bracing myself for the barrage of hate. What people call barrage of hate, other people call freedom of speech. This is America. Welcome to it. The subreddit of Our Justice for Clayton is a cesspool of vitriol. Yes, welcome to the internet. Welcome. What is it that you say, Lauren?
Welcome to the internet where your cesspool is my jacuzzi.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's Lauren's tagline. Everyone knows the internet is a cesspool. Stay out of it if you do not want to be involved. Oh, there's a baby. Oh, good gravy. Look at the baby. Oh, Dave.
And the young child.
Oh, he's so cute. Oh,
Who, me?
look. Look at the baby. Everyone go, aw. He's so cute.
She's like, get me out of here.
August.
You little wiggler. You little
Ah.
wiggler. Okay, all right. Good.
He's so cute. That newborn. Oh gosh, the newborn thing is so amazing.
He went a
It's
few
so-
days without pooping, and we were a little worried, but he just delivered, folks. He
All
got one.
right.
He gave
All
he gave a baby super chat, as it were.
Hey, here's a good tip for that. So when they're having those problems, you would put them on their back and you take their little legs and you do a little bicycle up by the tummy. You just kind of bicycle those legs,
Yep.
and then it'll come out in explosive ways. I'm telling you.
That's what my wife
keep
has me do
bicycling.
after Thai food. By the way, I just have to say, maybe I shouldn't do this. You know what?
No,
I'll be
he's
right back.
okay.
We're gonna go feed him. We'll be right back.
All right. But yeah, the bicycling thing, is a very good tip for babies who have trouble.
And make sure you're
Um,
standing off to the side.
Right. Make sure the diaper is on when you're doing this, because that will get things moving. All right. The subreddit Our Justice for Clayton is a cesspool of vitriol. She's a compulsive liar and all her evidence is fake. Okay, well, that's not hatred. That's an opinion. That's seriously someone's opinion. And also based on the evidence we've seen, we haven't seen any real evidence. We've seen a lot of fake evidence, though. So reads one post. She manipulates everyone around her and then plays the victim. Again, how is that hateful? These are the quotes she pulled out to show vitriolic hate? That's not hate. Each comment is a knife cutting deeper into my already fragile psyche.
So don't play in the knife drawer.
Yeah, she opened the knife drawer and then invited the knives to come around her. Like it doesn't make sense.
She's like dancing with the knives like Brittany in the middle of her living room.
And I do not like this. So right after it says she manipulates everyone, she then says each comment is a knife cutting deeper into my already fragile psyche. That's a manipulation, isn't it, Lauren? I see you laughing.
Yeah,
That's a manipulation right there.
It's like she kind of positions these things together where she kind of makes it, you associate like something that you may have said, like some comment you may have made with that last sentence.
Mhm.
She's good at that.
Okay. Twitter is no refuge. Well, yeah, Twitter's a cesspool too. Stay off of there.
Yeah.
And I hate myself for checking it when I know I shouldn't.
Then whose fault is that?
Well, it's yours, obviously, Jeff. It's
Oh,
mine.
sorry.
We can't. It's justice for Clayton's. It's their fault she can't stay off the internet because they won't stop talking about her. That's what she's trying to say. It will
Well, it's
only.
like Oscar Wilde said, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It will only upset me more, she says. The account, Clayton's Justice, is active as usual. Laura is a pathological liar and deserves every bit of suffering she gets, one tweet declares. She's dangerous and manipulative. She should be locked up, says another. They've shared more of my personal information, encouraging others to join the hunt. It's like being hunted with no escape. Flash.
the
Okay.
escape is a power switch on your computer or phone.
Yes.
There is an escape. If
And
you take
also
yourself
just
out of the
admitting that.
game, you're not playing anymore.
Right. Right. I've had to do that. I've had to turn off Twitter. I know Dave takes Twitter off of his phone regularly. Dave
Well,
will
you know,
take
I
he takes
texted
the
you.
app right off his phone.
I texted you last Friday in the middle of all this other BS that's going on. I said, I have never been happier in my entire life than to turn off my phone for a 13-hour flight.
Yep.
And I slept like a damn baby when I wasn't watching all 5 of the Hunger Games movies.
Yes. Yes, I mean it's truly, and for your own mental well-being, to all of you out there, one of the greatest vacations I ever took in my life was in 2020 when the world went crazy. And we had to cancel our Disney trip, and we decided instead to rent an RV and drive to Yellowstone. And I made a pact with my family that we were all going to turn off our phones. Only we were going to turn off the data on our phones and only use them for cameras, and we weren't going to look at anything. And we were gone for 17 days. It was the greatest. I am forever changed by
And you
that
came back and
17
found out they
days.
already had your funeral and the headstones are ordered. And
It was the greatest 17 days of my life. Like, seriously. I think Alex, I was in Montana, but at the time I didn't know you were living there. I had no idea you had moved to Montana. She's all pissed. She's like, "What? You were in Montana? I didn't even know you were there. I thought you were still in Illinois." It's not like we back then we didn't talk all the time. We do now, which is great. I love getting reconnected with with my cousin. It's fun. We're gonna have like a big family reunion in Scottsdale too. Do you really live in Yellowstone? I cannot even believe that, because we were there and so were my parents. You would have, and all the kids, you could have totally met up with us. I had no idea that you were even there. I found that out like right when you started watching me on YouTube recently. Remember? I was like, "You're in Montana? What happened? I thought you were in Illinois." So anyway, it was life changing. So if any of you are having problems, like because of if you're on the phone too much or whatever, I challenge you to turn it off, like totally. Check out for days at a time.
I deleted all my apps, like all my social media profiles for like it was like 2 or 3 months last year, because I was just like seeing things from like not even like exes, just like people I wasn't involved with anymore who had like, oh, these people were like mean to me or whatever. And it was like putting me in a bad mood, and I was like, I'm hurting my own feelings like looking at this stuff, so I need to
Yes.
stop. So
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
like the best thing I could have done, and it was hard at first, but it was definitely the best thing for me.
Everything we've read in his last paragraph in a little bit is self-inflicted.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, it is.
If
And
she feels bad, it's because she's looking at it.
I encourage all of you to disengage for multiple days at a time, and just see how you feel afterwards. Like keep your music, like listen to your music and stuff, but don't look at anything that is connected to data. Don't look at any social media. Don't look at the news. I had to do this back before we even had social media in the 90s. I'll never forget it because I've always been a news junkie ever since I was 12. And my dad would read the newspaper every day. So we had newspapers in our house. And I started getting into the habit of reading newspapers every day. And I realized I was becoming very pessimistic, although I'm kind of a born pessimist. My dad's like that too. But I read this thing, probably in the newspaper, that said people who read the newspaper every day are more likely to be unhappy. And so I decided to put it down for a while just to see how I felt. And sure enough, within a couple of days, I was much happier, having no idea what was going on. And I told this to my best friend the other day because she gets real into it like I used to and gets upset about what's going on in the news. And I told her, turn it off. Stop reading it. Because guess what? Once you stop reading it, it is not outside your front door. You are not living in that war zone that you're upset about. You are not living in this. None of your neighbors are doing these things that you are reading in the news that upset you so much. And you will actually recover from your news depression. And it will be the best thing you've ever done. So if you're feeling unhappy and you spend a lot of time putting negative things in your mind, stop doing that for a while and then let me know how it goes. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on mental health. Turn off the news. Turn off social media.
You can also just like, if anybody didn't know this, if you want to like keep in touch with your friends and that's your reason for keeping social media, you can delete your Facebook and Instagram profiles or deactivate and keep your Messenger.
That's true. I still have my Facebook profile, but I never go on Facebook anymore. And I never post anything. And I just never look at it. The only social media I look at is Twitter. And it's the only one I enjoy. But I also block people that treat me badly. So I don't have to deal with that. So mostly for me, it's a positive thing. It's a positive place because I don't put up with the garbage. All right. Flashes of June of 2023 torment me. And if for those of you wondering, June of 2023 would be when she started with her pregnancy claims with Clayton. I saw a positive home pregnancy test and my heart raced with fear. The alleged father knew I wasn't on the pill and that I didn't want to have sex, although he wanted to, which he later on admitted in his deposition. Now, we haven't read that deposition. We do not know what she is saying here. No idea. But we do know that he has said multiple times that they did not. Whether or not he wanted to is really not important. It's that they did not, is what he says.
And lawyer antenna also just went up at that sentence.
Mm.
It's no longer the father. Now it's the alleged father.
Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right, Jeff. She didn't put alleged in there. He did. Yep.
That's less than certainty now, where she was absolutely certain before.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the alleged father.
I headed straight to an urgent care facility to confirm it, which it did. No, it was just another HCG test. I told the father, no more alleged, and he insisted on another test, one that he bought himself and watched me take it. Clayton also says no, he didn't, that he bought her the test and she went into the bathroom and he did not watch her in there taking it. But that's neither here nor there. We all believe that she can pee positive. It's positive, but as he said in his deposition, it was a pregnancy test for people who don't lie about being pregnant. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
I don't know what that means. My world was spinning. For weeks, I was paralyzed with fear because his stance on fatherhood changed daily. Well, no, we've all read these texts, and she was giving him all these, options.
Let's ask the newest parent in the room. So you take a pregnancy test.
Look how excited he is.
Yeah.
Look, his face just lit up.
You take a pregnancy test. How many weeks were you paralyzed with fear before you went to the doctor?
Well, I'll tell you this, as seen, the only pregnancy test I need is that I just had to fix the diaper genie. So I think it's positive. I think it was a positive one. Let's assume the test was on a Monday night. I think we were in the doctor's Wednesday. We would have gone Tuesday, but we just couldn't get an appointment. So
that was a blood test, right? You did a blood urine and blood.
Full ultrasound.
Oh, you got an ultrasound right
Oh,
away.
yeah. I have it all. I mean, I've got all the videos. This is what I've been. My wife set up the video in the bathroom and she says, "Babe, come in here." And I'm like, "Honey, stop. We're we just put on a new TV show we're watching and babe, come in." And my edibles kicked in. "Babe, come in here." I go into the room and I go, you tested pot? Like I thought she had COVID or something. I had no idea. Just because we're like, let's start trying maybe in the next year or two. And I was like, the Irish heritage, you know what I mean? No potato famine here. All potatoes and no meat. But anyhow, so yeah, we were in the doctor right away. And then of course the doctor, because we live in Los Angeles, the doctor, it was like, did you want to have a baby or no? And we were like, yeah. And then he's like, well, then you're pregnant. and I was surprised. I mean, and this was very early on that the ultrasound was able to pick it up. I mean, just look at this. How quickly is Jane Doe able to fire off all of these messages to the Scottsdale police, going to Reddit, doing all of this, and she couldn't go get an ultrasound? It was the easy. You walk in, they put a little jelly on your belly, and you know within a second that you're pregnant or not.
Yeah,
What?
it's really not a big deal, and it's like a requirement. You go, and you also get the Doppler. We've never even seen a Doppler for the heartbeat. You get the Doppler thing they put on there too.
Right.
In fact, I bought one for myself, which had like little, headphones, and you can find the heartbeat whenever you want to. I bought one for myself because that was fun for me. I just enjoyed doing it.
And my wife wanted to get one as well. And you know why? Because if you go 10 hours without feeling a baby kick, or to be quite honest, 3 hours, when you're far enough along, you worry. You go, oh my God. You know how worried we were early on in our pregnancy? We went on a tour when we were in Qatar for our baby moon. We were on our way to the Maldives, when she was sending me cease and desist letters. And one of the tours we went on was supposed to be a tour of the sand dunes and everything. It's beautiful. But we didn't realize how aggressive it would be. And there was a lot of bumps. And we were like, oh my gosh, is the baby okay? Like, we were so worried on every misstep that the baby, and as it turns out, babies are very resilient and very protected in the womb. And they actually are like real fighters. Like, they're meant to survive, and they fight like hell to survive. And we were lucky, but you worry about these things because it's out of your control. And you want to make sure things are okay. And she never once worried enough to go make sure things were okay.
Yeah. Yeah. About them not kicking for several hours, I could always get mine to kick me back if I pushed on them. Like, if I, you find the baby, you find the foot or whatever, because you can push into your belly and be like, oh, there it is. And then push, and they would push back, and I'd be like,
Totally.
okay, there you are. You must have been sleeping or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've taken steps to confirm.
Yeah.
I was paralyzed with. Okay, let's say I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say 100% she's paralyzed with fear, because he's changing his stance every day. Okay, I'm sorry if she was paralyzed with fear, but the normal, I think for me anyway, the normal reaction would be, oh, well, if his stance is changing daily, I better damn well go in there and find out for sure what's going on. But apparently that's not it.
Well, and we're talking about someone who even says she had bleeding and passed these sacks and never went in. That is inexplicable. That does not make sense. You don't text somebody, text a miscarriage hotline to say, do you think I'm still pregnant? No, you go to the hospital. It never.
And of course, we're having this conversation as people that have had babies. She just wasn't pregnant. She just wasn't pregnant. Like, obviously, every single one of her fake pieces of medical proof involved the wrong way of, the date of conception. Everything was wrong. And it was collectively wrong every single step of the way, because she was never called out for it, because she did this privately. So it was sloppy as hell. And as we've seen with the fake cancer documents, we called that shit out within a day. We had a million different reasons why it was fake. Oh, it wasn't me. Then it's proof that it's you. We can't even go any further to really. I don't think there's ever been such an open shut case to prove she's been lying, that she's had to switch it around and say, yes, I've lied, but I was still she's just holding out hope on that final straw. And it's like, okay, come on. Enough is enough.
Yep.
Played her game long enough.
All right, let's keep going. Here we go. In July, he demanded an abortion, then considered adoption, then debated taking full custody himself, but never joint custody as I hoped. In July, I shelled out a $5,000 retainer to hire an attorney just to act as a go-between because he refuses to communicate directly. The retainer vanished quickly, and on August 1st, I realized I had no choice but to file a paternity case. That's ridiculous. You had choice to wait.
Yeah, there were a few choices.
Yeah, there were a lot of choices. Come on, let's be honest. My goal was just to figure out a parenting plan, not to get money. How many of you, after all that, would have believed you were pregnant? I wouldn't have believed it until I got it verified by the doctor. I never did. Would you think that was enough to justify that it was filed in good faith? No. No, I don't.
Well, because in hindsight, it's like, it sounds like the way she writes, it's like one thing after another. There's months that go by. Months. Mm-hmm. There's she has literally completely different, she's horse competitions. Months are going by with where she's threatening Clayton starting in July, August, September. this wasn't like one day, oh, you must file a parenting plan by 10 days in or else he's off the hook. There was no ultimatum. She could have waited till she was having the baby. She could have no. So it's just like she's so good at putting together these false comparisons where like I had to do this or this would have happened. No, you could have just waited.
Of course she could have just waited, but she didn't do that because this was about keeping him with her. That's what it was about.
And early on, not just keeping her with her, but trying to get him to bang her. Early on, it was literally the email from her saying, "Hey, I'm already pregnant. You might as well bang me." So that because it's already, hey, we've already done the dirty. And then maybe she was wanting to get knocked up by him. You know, I mean, hey, if I'm a, you know, she's a smaller lady. He's 6'6". He's a strong guy. He's a good looking guy. I'd take that DNA. I'd take that DNA in a second. Now, he didn't take the bait, but either way, I mean, all those motives are there.
Hey, guys, there's 1,300 of you here right now and only 426 likes. What the heck, man? What the heck?
Wow.
Let's
Hi,
get
1,300 people.
Let's get that like button. Slap that like button. You know, if you don't, I'm having the babies. Okay.
Oh my God.
Hey, Nig, while I have you, what's going to be your exact plan for June 10th? Are you going to come? Are you going to come on camera with us at the van before you go in?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be there way early. Whenever you're planning on being there, we can maybe stream beforehand if you want.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go live at 7:30. I think is going to be my plan. Maybe 7, depending. Because if different people want to come, I want to give everyone a chance to like talk. And then I think the case is at what, 8:45.
I don't know. I don't even know what the time of it is, but I'm going to be there early. I'll hang out with you until it's time to go in. Then I'll go in, report from in there what's going on. I'll be taking notes, and then I'll come back out and give you all the info.
And one of the things to note, we say it's 8:45 for the start date. 8:45 is when the pre-trial conference is going to be happening behind closed doors. And then the trial is supposed to start at 9 a.m. local sharp.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm going to have to get into the courtroom pretty early, I would imagine, whenever they let us go in so that I can make sure I get a seat.
I was going to ask that. How early should I be showing up to the courthouse? Like, I've never done this before. So.
I would absolutely get there at least an hour to 45 minutes before.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. And you want to come hang out with Dave anyway beforehand. So
yeah, and what I've been told is like we don't want a whole bunch of people like waiting in the court hallway right beforehand. Right. Nor do we want a whole train of people walking in at the same time. Just everyone should look as, you know, professional as possible and neutral as possible, just so there's no ammo that everyone's out to get her. I felt hostility while walking down the hall. No one wants any of that. So yeah, people can hang out. We'll have scones. I think we've got a caterer helping us out. So we'll have scones and cold brew in the morning, and we'll be hanging out by the van, and then people can, you know, have their conversations there, and then walk in at maybe 8:20 or so.
Yeah, I also just don't know what else is going on around the courthouse, so I don't want to take up space where I don't have to, or like when I don't have to, if that makes sense. So I'll probably just be hanging out, trying to meet everyone outside until I have to go in there.
Yeah.
The other thing to remember is that there is most likely going to be metal detectors going in, so there will be a short line that you'll have to go through because you want to make sure no one's taking weapons in.
Right, and once you go in, you don't want to go back out because then you got to go back in through the same way. So. You know, it's going to be pretty interesting, but I do have a theory now that I don't think she's going to show. And I think that will, and I think that this is the setup for not showing right here, what we're going through here. I believe that this is very similar, by the way, Dave, to when you were saying, and Steve was saying, oh, when are we going to get the miscarriage news? When's the miscarriage news coming? When is it coming? Because you know she's going to say she's going to file something to dismiss this because she had a miscarriage, and this is the same thing. When is I've checked my client into treatment and she can't be there for the court hearing.
Now, will they still go through with the trial or no?
I don't think so. I think that there would be a continuance, but I don't think the judge, I don't know. MG Law's in the chat. What are the chances of a directed verdict in a case like this? I think they would just push it out again. And I don't.
Just so she knows, I'll come back for 17 straight times if she does this. These are tax write-offs. So like, let's just not kick the can down the road. Let's get this thing done.
Just get it over with. Jeff, what do you think? Do you think that a
Oh, it would be
directed verdict?
extraordinarily bad if she didn't show up without any prior notice or permission to not show up.
Well, what if she has a medical emergency?
Well, I guess it would be up to the judge whether or not they believe it, and this would be evidence to the effect that maybe it was not quite as an emergency as it would seem.
By the way, there's other things that could be at play. Her father is sick. There could be a play there that I have to go attend to my. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that could be claimed to avoid this, but sick father, one of them. I think she showed up to the deposition when she was forced to, so hopefully she'll show up to this. But as far as any mischaracterizations, like we're going to be having a pre-football game tailgate. No, anyone who comes, I'm just providing them with some breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, that's all we're doing. I have a right to report. Don't they understand that that's what reporters do? They show up and they set up in front of the backdrop and they do their thing. We're going to have to do it a little differently because we don't have all the pro gear. So I'm going to have to be live streaming from an air conditioned van that has, a generator going and things like that. But that'll pull people off of the court steps and into the parking lot, if anything. So that'll help her out.
There's a difference between showing up the night before and just partying in the parking lot until the morning of, and showing up an hour before for coverage.
Legitimate news purposes?
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a huge difference. And by the way, I mean, treating this like this is anything different than what ABC would be doing in a trial they were covering is silly. We're just more fun than they are. But that doesn't mean that what we're doing is not legitimate, because it is legitimate news. You people want to hear it. We're there to provide it for you, and that's how it's going to work. All right.
And you know what? It could have been somebody else's son. It could have been anyone watching son. And I think, that's why the justice has to come now to kind of put an end to it, maybe change the laws. And they can shame us all they want, but mainstream media is not going to cover it. And local media is kind of dead. So this is the new form of local media. This is niche media.
Mm-hmm.
Well, MG brings up a good point that her father's condition wouldn't have any bearing on her hearing. I mean, he could drop dead, and that wouldn't be grounds for continuance.
Interesting.
Okay, did my mic
And even
drop
hers,
off?
the court can go, well, gee, I didn't know she wasn't going to be here. She hasn't given sufficient reason, so it sucks that she doesn't get to tell her side of the story. Let's go.
You were low for a second, but you're back up now. Yeah.
Is it
You're
back?
back.
Okay. All right. Well, I got rid of the static. I don't know how I did it, but it's gone now again. So I don't know. I gotta figure out this microphone. All right. Anyway, getting back to this, because I still have an entire thing to get to after we read this, where I have put together her pattern of making suicidal threats to get her way when she gets backed into a corner, and we still have to get to that. So we have to get through this. Wouldn't you think that was enough to justify in good faith? No, I wouldn't. The law recognizes the intent to secure a parenting plan and ensure the welfare of a child begins the moment a pregnancy is confirmed, regardless of its outcome. Well, she never had a confirmed pregnancy, and that law needs to change. I made multiple appointments with obstetricians, even sent my epilepsy records to a high-risk practice to get established. But did she go? But did you go? No. I invited him to an ultrasound appointment and then refused to let him come by FaceTime. Like, oh, come on. But he refused, convinced I would hire an actor to play the doctor. Not kidding. Feeling isolated and desperate, I canceled the appointments. Later, after concerns about... Why would she cancel the appointments instead of going without him? It doesn't make any sense. Later, after concerns about a miscarriage, I got a blood test confirming the pregnancy. Yet today, that doesn't confirm the pregnancy either. You have to get multiple blood tests that confirm the pregnancy is continuing. Yet today, nearly after a year, I filed it, and months after losing the pregnancy, the alleged father and the cult think I should be sanctioned and pay attorney's fees for filing a paternity case. No, for filing it under fraud. That's why people think you should be sanctioned. Should a woman be punished every time she is wrong about a paternity but genuinely believes she is right and drags a man into court? Her words. Her words. Okay, we have to stop and comment on this. What is this language?
Projection.
Is she admitting that she has dragged these men into court?
Yeah, I think it is. And by her lawyer's words, these are her words, not his. And
Well, she
so
could be saying, I tried to talk to him and he wouldn't do it, so I had no choice but to drag him into court with the lawsuit.
It's just a really weird way to put it, isn't it?
Well, it gets even weirder. read the entire sentence
Only
through.
to have the case dismissed? Should a woman
re-
be punished every time she's wrong about paternity but genuinely believes she's right and drags a man into court only to have the case dismissed?
Yes.
Yes.
And a man should be punished if he's wrong and gets dragged into court and it turns out he is the father.
Right. That's the way it should go. Should
Loser
she be,
pays.
Should she be sanctioned by the court for literally trying to do the right thing by the child? Well,
What
it's
child?
The doctor.
What child? What kind of precedent does that set? That liars
A good
can't drag men to court for no reason? That's the precedent it sets.
Be careful before you waste the court's time.
Especially
What precedent does it set? How about laws need to be changed? And maybe this will set a precedent, which is, I mean, and by the way, if you run a family court, shouldn't they, if a family court system's big enough, they should really have an ultrasound and a technician there. I mean, that would be so much cheaper to have to retain an ultrasound.
You could put it right by the security, right before you even get inside.
Really?
You just
You gotta wand your stomach before you go in.
Just a little jelly on the belly,
a little
and
jelly
then
on the belly. Just
done.
let's go. Yep.
How about that for a precedent?
Yeah, that would be
Bitch.
fantastic. Oh, what? Especially in my case, where there are confirmed urine and blood tests. You mean the blood test you fabricated and just admitted to, obtained via a HIPAA release given to the other side, proving my pregnancy? No, it's never been
It's
proven.
proving your HCG levels. It doesn't prove a pregnancy.
No, it doesn't. Sanctioning a woman in such a scenario sets a dangerous precedent.
No, it doesn't.
It discourages women from seeking legal recourse to ensure the welfare of their unborn children out of fear of being penalized for an honest mistake or a tragic outcome like a miscarriage. No, it doesn't. She can't show proof of a miscarriage either.
The funny
She
thing,
got no medical care for it.
I know that Gingras said that he didn't write this and these are her words, but this reads like his writing right here. Because I find
that's why I said at the beginning, I'm not quite so sure it's 100% her words.
And
but-
his writing reads like hers.
Yeah,
I
they're
can't
like
believe.
they're
Yeah,
twins.
like
The only twins in this case are Laura and her attorney.
If you tell me that she's been using voice altering software and is actually pretending to be him and he's bound and gagged in her basement casita, I'd believe it because it's like the same exact person here.
Well, have they ever been seen in a room together? Or
Not yet.
Hopefully June 10th.
not without witnesses.
Yeah. In my situation, everything I did was in compliance with the law. Really? The blackmail, all that was in compliance with the law? I don't know. The shakedowns? I don't know. And driven by genuine concern for my children's welfare. Filing under ARS 25806 was entirely appropriate and done in good faith. The law is meant to protect and serve justice, not be manipulated to further victimize those who are already suffering.
Well, now that raises the question. What is justice? The law is meant to protect and serve justice, absolutely, but justice is the truth, the reality of the situation. Justice is not what I say it is, what I claim it to be, and what I want it to be based on my agenda.
Right.
So yes,
Justice
it does
is what,
protect
in
and
this
serve
case,
justice.
Justice in this case is what the judge decides, and she's already gone on record as saying she's going to decide whether or not this case deserves sanctions, and she's not dismissing it, and she's not going to let Gingras tell her what to do. And
Depending who wins or loses, this sentence goes both ways. If she wins, then the law protected and served justice for her, and she wasn't allowed to be manipulated. If it goes bad for her, the law was meant to protect and did serve the justice for Clayton, and it's not meant to be you manipulated him, furthering his pain and suffering. So this is a stupid sentence. It's just stupid.
I feel bitterness gnawing at me. This is very, by the way, if I could, one word to describe her writing, as it has always been, as we have known it, is histrionic. That is the word I would use to describe her writing, histrionic. I feel bitterness gnawing at me, and I try to shake it off as I consider having breakfast. I should eat. After all, I lost 40 pounds in 4 months between the miscarriage and the stress. But the anxiety is a constant presence, a tightness in my chest that won't go away. The food sits untouched. Well, Laura, if you're not taking care of yourself, that again is a you problem. You need to eat your food. And if you're having trouble eating, you can't eat. You need to be somewhere where people make sure that you eat 3 times a day and get your nutrition up. Maybe you need an intravenous solution that will help you gain some weight. This is not the fault of this is not the internet's problem.
My podcast sponsor this week is Tropical Smoothie Cafe. They make great smoothies. If you cannot stomach any food, they've got a peanut butter with whey protein smoothie. You can use my code, Dave. Okay.
You should give the code. Give the code, Dave.
I don't have a code, but they are. But I went yesterday. There's fantastic food. They have flatbread sandwiches and salads. So now everyone, look. So she's setting herself up to play the card of. I
have damages.
And then what do those damages cost? I mean, she sued Greg Gillespie for damages. He countersued her, and the judge dropped both. But do we have to start setting up for the damages we've received? You know what I mean? Like is that the game that she wants us to play?
Yeah, I mean, this is what it sounds like to me. This is either a setup for she's not going to be medically able to make it to her own trial, and or she's setting up her damages for those defamation lawsuits that David Gingras keeps threatening, right?
By the way, they haven't threatened defamation since the most recent cancer and all the other things. I kind of feel like she's giving up on the defamation side of things. I don't want to tease her, but I kind of feel like that's just going to be a bad look for her. But I definitely think.
Well, it's definitely not good for her. She won't win it, and it will just be endless litigation that she'll have to pay for, that none of us will have to pay for, because the community will crowdfund it, period. And I have friends and my sister's a lawyer, and she will represent me. She'll pro hoc vice in. And this, I can do it all year long. I can do it for years.
Yeah.
But how long can she do it?
That's the important thing to let her know, is that you're not punishing us. We're only going to keep growing an audience. So
I'm just going to keep making content on it. It's going to be content for however long it goes on. It'll be content, and that means that this will continue to upset you. So if you want this to stop, you can't sue people. You can't do that. You just can't. You have to just go get your help, admit to this, and get it taken care of. And this
is the first time that she's done this dance on quicksand. She's always done this dance before privately. She brought it. I mean, the odds, the guardian angel aspect of this, where she brought it to a community that really enjoys the curiosity of this coverage. Bad idea. That's not where you bring your con. You don't bring it to an audience that likes to expose cons.
Right. Exactly.
So these paragraphs here where she's explaining like she doesn't feel like she should do anything, doesn't have a purpose, can't eat, stuff like that. It's interesting that she puts this out now, because she was like traveling for a horse jumping competition last weekend.
Really?
Like there are online results that prove that she was there.
We got video. Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's
not
jumping?
actually as distraught as you're claiming if you're going out and doing stuff like that, and then you're saying, "Oh no, look, I don't see the point in doing anything," that kind of stuff. Like, this is just kind of weird. And also it's
manipulative.
Also she's putting this out here at a time where she has like space between now and the trial to go get help if she really needs help. So she should be doing that and not publishing a blog. And so like if she were to, I kind of like feel like, at least in a public opinion, like not show up for her court date, that's a really bad look, because I feel like it's like you could have gone and seen somebody and had this kind of, you could have gotten healthier by now.
It's just unbelievable. The food sits untouched. The creepy voicemails, which she has not given to any of us. I've never heard a creepy voicemail. The death threats, I've only seen the ones from the one Facebook account that we believe might have been her. I don't know. I've not seen anything else. I have not seen anybody threaten her on Reddit.
In the off chance someone is calling her, sending voicemails, don't stop.
Yeah, but we've always said that. I mean,
I know.
We
Say it
can't
again.
stop what people out there, crazy people on the internet do. We've always said, don't contact her, do not email her, don't do any of that. Always to anyone we ever talk about.
Well,
in
Meg,
any case,
there was a threat made by somebody who was threatening to get the public to attack somebody, and it was the threat that she made to Clayton. in the email where she shared a PDF of her Instagram story, and she was basically saying, "Wouldn't it be a shame if I post this?" And in that Instagram post, it was going to say, "Everyone tag Clayton in this hashtag Clayton Eckerd and let him know what you think about him." So the only fear out there of someone weaponizing a group of people is her own weaponization or thought that she could do that. And again, who puts a Instagram post into a PDF and sends it to someone? Have you ever screen grabbed an Instagram post? I'm going to upload this. Do it. Upload it. You know, all these threats to go public. She just never did it. She never followed through. She never followed through with the $1.4 million extortion lawsuit.
Yeah, she did a
against him.
lot of threats. She's issued a ton of threats toward Clayton, threatened to kill herself, toward Greg Gillespie, threatened him, threatened Clayton with media, and then followed through on it.
So what does Clayton do, right? He finally goes, fine, go public.
Yeah.
And then she goes, Clayton wanted me to go public. No, he didn't. He was just sick of you. It's like, shit or get off the pot, lady. What are we doing?
In the words of her lawyer, he then turns to Clayton and says, "So you consented?" Oh, yeah. So you consented to letting her go to the media because you said, "Go ahead." You know, that's not consent. That's, I know you're going to do it anyway. All right. They've targeted my family too, trying to break me from every angle. Fear is a shadow that never leaves. Whose mouse is clicking? It's driving me crazy.
Me, sorry.
Quit
The
clicking.
mouse jiggler himself.
He's jiggling your mouse. Sitting at my computer, I check my email, hoping for a reprieve. Instead, I find more hate. You deserve everything that's happening to you, says another. Well, that's not hate. That's the law of the universe. The harassment is relentless and I can't escape it. Why don't you just admit you're lying? One email demands. Well, that's just a good question. Yes, I have lied before. I'm not proud of it. Now, notice what she doesn't put in here. She doesn't put in what she has lied about, which would be, that's, Laura, you're almost there. You're almost there. This would have been wonderful if you had said, yes, I have lied about being pregnant. I have lied because I wanted this relationship to work out. I know I have a problem. I'm not proud of it. But by just being nebulous like this is not what people are asking you to do. This is not it. You must say what you've lied about. I've made mistakes that haunt me. Well, which ones? That I deeply regret. But those mistakes don't define me. Well, they do if you don't admit them. I know
they do go to your credibility in a hearing.
They sure do. And her own lawyer says she's not credible, that she's made minor misstatements, little minor perjury all over the place. Her own lawyer says he knows she's not credible. I know who I am, and I know my heart. Despite what they say, despite the avalanche of hateful comments and relentless accusations, I am not the monster they paint me to be. And here's the thing. I have never lied about being pregnant. Oh, here we go again. I have never lied about being abused. Isn't that what this is all about? Just because, well, Mike Maricini says she lied about the abuse. Mike Maricini says she lied about the pregnancy.
That's she's saying this without evidence. So take it with a grain of salt, Just the same way she wants us to take anything that they say.
Just because I didn't actively seek medical care during my pregnancy doesn't mean I wasn't pregnant. Well, how about the other pregnancies? Because she didn't seek medical care for those either. There were only doctored records. Again, I was lost, confused, and scared. I didn't know what to do.
How about seek medical care?
Yeah, seek medical care. The cult has scrutinized every aspect of my life, leaving no stone unturned. They've dug up old high school newspapers to discredit a Liz Frank's fracture dislocation that I suffered. They've analyzed the deed on my parents' house, all public records, by the way. And on one I recently bought, the financing we obtained, again, public, and feel entitled to my medical records. No, you've released your medical records. You released your medical records to Dropbox and to the media. And you released doctored medical, and you admitted to sending Dave Neal here a doctored HCG blood serum test. You sent your medical record, medical records to the press. You did that. No one here has been like, I've got to get my hands on Laura's medical records. You sent them out.
Yeah, didn't Dave have a video of how many media outlets or something she was trying to email?
Yeah, we got dozens.
Yeah,
I mean, and she,
lots.
you know, and the only reason we have all of this is because she was hysterical and manic and trying to prove she was pregnant, and you get a little sloppy when you do that. It's like someone at a crime scene. Like to the naked eye, you might not see all the evidence, but once you start looking, you paint a whole story. And if this were a crime scene, you turn on the black light, it's like fraud, 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 fraud. I mean, it's
She left her
everywhere.
footprints in the blood. Okay.
There's
Then
literally-
she tracked her footprints all over the crime scene.
I mean, short of a fingerprint on a Fiverr logo, like short of that, it's like, what else do you want? I'm going to make this video tomorrow because her lawyer, to the Tilted lawyer, still says, I don't know anything about this Fiverr logo. So I'm going to make a video. I'm going to say at the beginning, hey, nobody else watch this. I want this video to have one view. This is for David Gingras. Here's the evidence. Here's what
Yeah.
happened.
I can't wait for.
like-
Oh, by the way, the Tilted lawyer reached out to me. I'm going to be on with him tomorrow.
I'm going to stop by too. Not for long though.
Yeah, I don't know where he is though. So when he says 9 a.m., I'm like, what state?
He's
are you in?"
West Coast. That's noon for you.
Oh, great. Okay, well, I'll be hopping in to the Tilted lawyer's live stream tomorrow.
Yeah, he's been
Around
covering
there.
the Clayton Etchard trial.
Edshard, yes,
That's
he's covering.
I've got a tilted boner when I look at this guy, but that's a different story.
He's very handsome. I know the chat loves him.
I get jealous though. That's like the guy in me when he gets a compliment. I'm like, I'm the live streamer who covers the, you know, like, no, he's been very sweet. And look, I told him just cover this, be honest. And of course, his honesty was, whoa, rampant fraud. So, you know, no surprise.
Yeah,
But I'm sure he's part of this crazy cult, this respected lawyer who has nothing to do with us.
I love this part here. They know where I've spent my weekends. I don't have a freaking clue. Does she mean the horse jumping competitions? The ones that are public records? Where the entire internet knows because, you know, the horse jumping competition publishes your name on a website and stuff? If that's what you mean, then that's not creepy at all. That's just people looking at your horse jumping, which is public. They know what kind of sandwich I eat. I don't know what she eats. I've never heard of this.
She's alluding to the fact that Greg said that she eats a burrito for lunch every day.
Yeah, so she then said...
Who? Wait, Greg Gillespie said that?
Yeah, there was this thing about a burrito, and then someone online knew she ate burritos. They put a burrito on an ultrasound or did something, you know, they did arts and crafts. And she goes, see, that proves that Greg Gillespie's the guy. And then everyone's like, no, idiot. It literally said in her like Instagram bio, I eat burritos every day. You know, it was like, everyone loves burritos, Laura. We can all bring burritos to the courthouse and sing Kumbaya afterwards, you know, as long as the
Everybody likes
cameras are rolling
burritos.
and we stay 10 feet apart.
I'm not interested in what she eats every day. And they even make fun of my order. Who's making fun? Because it's a burrito. I don't get it. I don't get it. I never made fun of any food order, but whatever. Although it does sound, when she's calling the cops, she always sounds like she's ordering Chinese. That is funny to me. That is funny to me, where she's like, yeah, hi. I'd like to report some harassment, and I would like a side of orange chicken, please. They contact business acquaintances and friends to try to promote justice for Clayton. Do we though? Business acquaintances? Who's that?
No idea.
If I've reached out to some sources asking for information, that's what journalists do, Laura. Sorry about that, but that's what we do.
And nobody publicly has gotten her back. What kind of friend is that? Gosh,
Yeah,
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. The people that weren't supportive of me in the Bachelor community, that damn well knew I was having a rough time, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And they know who they are. Some of them have like blocked me. People that are like people that I thought were side by side. And then the folks like Reality Steve, you know, awesome guy. You just see in times of adversity, you see people's character. And we're seeing she has no one supporting her publicly. And what, are they afraid of us? No, we'd love an interview with a good friend of hers giving a character witness. Hasn't happened.
we would love that, actually. That would be great. That would almost be a relief.
Steve begged for it in the fall. He was begging for it. Please, somebody give us something to work with here. Crickets.
Oh. All right. They contact business acquaintances. Yeah. Nothing is off limits. Their obsession is all consuming, and they act as if their mission is to unearth every aspect of my life and turn it into a weapon against me. They act as though I've never worked a day in my life. They spread the lie that I am given a large allowance by my father yearly, as if. I like this. We're at Wayne's World now. As if. The truth is, I've worked hard my entire life. Well, have she ever worked for anybody besides Dad? I've built multiple businesses, made my own money, and stood on my own 2 feet in Daddy's casita behind the in the she shed behind the house. But they ignore that. They paint me as a spoiled, lazy fraud living off my father's money.
Yeah, literally the only time I know where she lived by herself, like on her own 2 feet, was when she was impersonating her sister in a rent-controlled apartment in San Francisco. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. People that lived there literally thought her name was Sarah. They thought she was her sister because she was mooching off of her sister's rent control.
It's very strange.
Wow, what a real brave woman here.
Okay. They'll claim that it's not true as soon as this piece is out. They'll flood their Discord channels and Reddit threads with accusations, calling me a liar once again. They'll say I'm making it all up, that I'm just trying to garner sympathy. So again, she's throwing out stuff for Reddit to go crazy over. So she's doing the thing that brings more of the criticism she says she doesn't like. Lunchtime comes and goes. The anxiety is too overwhelming. My mind flashes. She loves to say this. She did that in her TEDx talk too. My mind flashes. Her mind does a lot of flashing. To one of the few things I'm still proud of, my TEDx talk. Oh, Lord, really? That thing, I wouldn't be proud of that. The one they're obsessed with getting taken down. No, we just don't want lies out there. I mean, against poor Mike Maricini, who's never been able to speak in his own defense. In my talk, I share a story about a stranger on a plane who handed me a letter telling me I was being abused based on what she overheard my ex telling me. That letter was a lifeline, a moment of clarity that helped me see my situation for what it was. The woman who wrote that letter even provided a declaration for my restraining order hearing against my abuser. After 6 years of communicating, we finally met in person last year. But the skeptics couldn't accept this. They hired a handwriting analyst to compare the letter to my handwriting. No, this is false. Convinced that I had fabricated the entire story. No. I reached out to a handwriting guy he's an expert with a YouTube channel. And I sent him a couple of samples. I never hired him, didn't pay him any money. And he said he might look at it. But he did say, the one thing he said, which I reported to the audience, was would be very difficult to compare handwriting because the napkin was in cursive and her handwriting was printed, and you can't compare the two easily, and he would need many more samples in order to do a true comparison. And so that was never done, and nobody ever got an analysis, and we all kind of came to the conclusion that we think Napkin Lady is real.
I think Napkin Lady's real. I think Napkin Lady was operating under good faith. Napkin Lady didn't know that Jane Doe bought this trip against Mike Maricini's knowledge and suckered him into the trip with threats of self-harm when Mike was in a high-stress situation with his own stepdad dying.
Yeah,
I'm sure Napkin Lady might have had a different tune if he knew that.
Lauren had a good point about this in her video she made about this. She said that she thinks Napkin Lady, well, I'll let you do it, but Lauren, you said that she was probably reacting.
Well, yeah, she was reacting to the situation that to her knowledge, the situation was that somebody was being berated for, no reason, and that this, person is in an abusive relationship. But obviously that's not
And that
the
it could
case.
have been her hearing him react to the emotional trauma.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I couldn't remember.
Sorry, I said
remember what
she,
you were
and I meant,
referring to.
I said she, and I should have said he. That he is in a reaction stage to the emotional trauma that she's been putting him through.
And I don't know exactly what he said. So, there's something called reactive abuse, where if somebody is, abusing you emotionally, you might, come out and say some pretty nasty stuff because you're reacting to the abuse. And then people might perceive you as being the abusive party.
Right. Exactly. Blah, blah, blah. They accuse me of hiring an actress to play the part of the kind stranger. Nothing can be real for them. No, we think she's real. The man who saw the Good Samaritan was abusing me. The man who the Good Samaritan saw was abusing me, along with 2 others I have restraining orders against, are now disturbingly labeled as my victims. They argue that I've somehow manipulated the entire justice system, bamboozled the judges, and weaved an elaborate web of lies to paint myself as the wrong party. Let's be clear. Nobody has to weave an elaborate web of lies to get a restraining order because they hand them out like candy to women who say I'm being abused and harassed, because judges are terrified that they won't give one out and then that woman will end up dead and it'll be on their hands because they didn't say yes to an ex parte order. So let's just not, you don't have to weave this big elaborate tale. You just have to go in and say, this guy is harassing me, and the judge is like, okay, period. They refused to believe my story. They've bamboozled judges and weaved an elaborate web of lies to paint myself as the wronged party. They refused to believe my story could be true, as if they have a monopoly on my reality. I developed epilepsy. Now, this is interesting. From the repeated trauma at the hands of that ex-boyfriend. You know what I found in the text messages between Laura and Mike? All kinds of epilepsy stuff, including Mike witnessing her falling off a horse, having an epileptic seizure, which she told him she got from a car accident. In the text messages, she tells him she got the epilepsy from that car accident, the Uber one.
Not to mention the slip and fall.
So she had epilepsy. Is Jeff sleeping?
Oh, I was supposed to say, you're snoring. What?
Oh my God. Jeff, are you sleeping? I think
What?
Jeff fell asleep.
I can't hear you.
It was
Jeff,
his dog.
Did you fall asleep? He's not traveling with the dogs, are you?
No, the dogs aren't here. There's just snakes.
You totally just fell asleep on my stream.
Boring. Megan Fox is boring.
You were snoring on my stream. Where do
Yeah. So? That's like your opinion, man.
Prove it. You can't prove it.
I've got blood tests that say otherwise.
He's got little to no consciousness right now.
All right, now
Yeah.
Jeff has previously sleep modded on my channel, but he has never sleep streamed with me. So this is a first.
Dedication, really.
I should have known that was going to happen when he told me he was laying on a day bed. Jeff, do we
Well,
need
it is 2 a.m. in Korea. So
We should have left all the supers for him to read.
I forgive you, Jeff. That was hilarious.
didn't
Jeff
ask for your
falls
forgiveness. I own my things.
All right, go back to sleep, Jeff. You're fine.
Nope, I'm here.
All right, so I believe that we have epilepsy, an epilepsy issue. She has told Mike Maricini that she developed epilepsy from a car crash, and that is in the text messages. And he witnessed her.
I'm lucky I woke up here because this is a very important part that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
This is a very, very specific statement that she better hope to God she can back up, because that could be a very, very impressive lawsuit on her hands if she says the dude gave her epilepsy from beating her.
Yeah. And she said in text messages to him that she developed epilepsy from the car crash, the car accident.
That would be a civil case, so you would be worrying about statute of limitations on that, right?
I don't know. Jeff?
It's a very dangerous statement.
Would you be worried about statute of limitations on a civil case, or no? You can sue at any...
It'd be coming close. I have no idea what it'd be. I have no idea what the statute of limitations. It could be in 3, 6, 10 years, somewhere around there.
Of course, we've already discussed and seen her financial situation. She's kind of judgment proof. So what point is there in spending years trying to sue this woman for, a falling down horse farm or whatever? I don't know. That she doesn't even own. I don't know. Dave, do you have something to share?
Well, I was just going to pull up how ridiculous some of the comments are regarding Gingras here.
Tell me when you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. So this is just the chat, the private Patreon chat, which, by the way, has been so instrumental in sourcing so much information. But someone just said that they were scrolling through Gingras' Twitter, and it's baffling how casual his responses are. So it really, like, we've almost normalized this, but people are just pulling up how idiotic it is, how he talks about the fact that she made appointments but canceled them. And then people say, why aren't there visit notes? Don't know what you're referring to. And so it's just like, in real time, people cross-examining her lawyer and how bad of a look that is, and yet he's just like cool with it. It's just so bizarre to me that that's all going down, and then people like just common bystanders in the Patreon are like baffled at his way of doing that, and like he's just getting dunked on, and maybe it's a kink thing, maybe he just likes this, but it's just
I think he has a humiliation fetish because he's being humiliated every single day online. He seems to love it.
And then he just like whenever he gets dunked on, he just moves on like it didn't happen. He just moves on to something else.
I think
like when Greg Gillespie dunked on him, he just moved on. I'm going to block you now. He just moves on. It's like incredible how his ability to take it all.
I think this might be part of his strategy, because if you remember when he first came on the case, he was begging Woodnick for any kind of documentation so that he could figure out the case. When you would think that Laura would be able to provide any documents regarding the case, because I think if Woodnick provides any evidence, that's all the things that he would have to defend her against. He wouldn't have to defend against anything that he doesn't know about from Laura. So by virtue of claiming or feigning ignorance on everything, it could be part of the strategy so that he doesn't have to understand the case to the fullest extent and get information from Laura. Because the thing is
I've said from day one, he's a genius for doing this. Any engagement with him is doing. You're doing his work for him. You're saying what arguments are going to be brought up, what evidence is going to be presented, and you're helping him prepare for it.
Yeah, I wish people would stop doing that because it's helping
sorry,
him.
I didn't finish that thread that existed on Patreon.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's not my fault. I shut it down. But like,
I'll go back to sleep. Never mind.
He goes, don't know what you're referring to. And then people literally sent him the doctored things, and we proved this was all doctored this week. You can't really tell it's low quality here, but this is completely pixelated. It's 100% doctored. None of this is real. And then they go, there are the notes. So he goes, no idea what you're talking about. I mean, in what world does the audience provide him with hard evidence and then he just moves on and then doesn't comment anymore? So like, he can't even pretend like he hasn't seen it because he goes, I haven't seen it. And go, oh, well, here you go. We have it. We have it all. We're playing a game of poker, showing our hands. We have a royal flush.
But he's doing that on purpose so that he can see what evidence is out there, and then we just keep giving it to him. And we have to stop doing that. People need to stop giving him this evidence and let him find out at trial what he doesn't have.
It's a great strategy. Get your enemies to do your work for you.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's like giving him every answer to every defense that he is putting out there. People do.
Yeah, the answer is, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, then sucks to be you. That should be the answer.
Yeah, the answer should be, well, that's too bad. You're going to find out.
Maybe you should ask your client. That's the best answer.
Ask your client. Yeah.
Someone asked me, did she send any of these mountains of evidence to women, or was she only sending it to men? It's a good question because early on, Steve and I were the only ones covering it. Obviously, if she sent this evidence to women, especially women who have had babies or pregnancies, they'd be able to call it out. Now, that's what's kind of great about this audience is she didn't mess with a guy, Clayton, who is a sports broadcaster and his audience is all men. She messed with a guy whose audience is all women. So the ability for women to specifically call out the fraud is so much easier. It's almost like if someone made a fake, I don't even know what like a men's version of this would be, but just like you would be able to spot it from a mile away when you have seen what the real thing looks like. So all of these nurses and doctors we've literally had doctors and experts call in and tell us exactly why not only is she faking it, but the billing codes were stopped. They stopped using these years ago. She must have gotten this medical report from someone in their 60s. I mean, they just nail her with the truth. And I'm reveling in the awe of how smart our audience is collectively. There's no competition. You can't compete against the collective brains that exist out here.
Brad had to drop out. See you later, IT Goatee Brad. Everybody go over there and make sure that you subscribe to his YouTube channel. If you just click on his little icon there, it'll bring you over there and you can go subscribe over there where he hands out good IT advice like mouse jigglers. If you want to know what that means, you're going to have to go find out over on his channel.
I'm only here right now because I'm using a mouse jiggler because Brad suggested it. So.
Do not
My
admit that
remote
on
job,
stream.
yeah.
And by the way,
Well, nobody's watching this at my job. I promise. They're all kind of
I'm
weird.
just here because I needed a good nap.
I want to put a defense to a lot of people. I understand the idea that we've given him ammo. So the Megyn Kelly conversation that Clayton was supposed to do is postponed, and they're saying it's because they need a little bit more time to get some information, which might be true. But it also could be that, you know, they got some calls from her, and they're just like, oh boy, we need a, and it's like, fine, like do what you need to do. I believe Megyn Kelly has the spine to cover this, but I couldn't have gotten that Megyn Kelly interview set up without going public in the first place. So even though like people say, oh, don't cover this because she'll hear, or don't cover this because it'll give them ammo. I understand that, but this whole movement wouldn't exist if we didn't have this conversation publicly. So it does come with them getting a little bit of a defense, but it also comes with us continuing to just hard expose them at every turn, because I think what's as important as what happens in the trial is the public trial and the public opinion here. So she might have a Rule 26 fetish that she wants to bring to the courthouse, but ain't no Rule 26 with how the public feels about the fraud that was committed.
I am just... Ugh. All of this is just, it's just upsetting. All right. This part she's always talking about too. And there's like no way to verify this unless, you know, Greg Woodnick goes after this as well. I developed epilepsy from the repeated trauma at the hands of that ex-boyfriend and was one of only 650 people accepted into the Barrow Neurological Institute's domestic violence brain injury program.
It's a very weird flex.
Yeah, very weird. This program,
one of which she has said for dozens of times to me and to other people, like anybody cares. Nobody doubts that she's got injuries. Nobody.
And nobody doubts that she has epilepsy either, but I just don't know what caused it, is what I'm saying.
People have said that, you know, people that have dated her, have said, yeah, she falls off her horse all the time. Yeah. You know, she could have pulled the legal vices and fell asleep on the horse, and you know, hit her head on the way down. Who knows?
Yeah, don't do that. She'd be laying comfortably on a daybed wrapped up in a little snake.
This program is designed for those whose lives have been shattered by abuse, their bodies and minds bearing the scars of the violence inflicted upon them, and yet, in their twisted narrative, I am the manipulator, the one who has somehow orchestrated this grand deception. Were they there when I was suffocated with a pillow and the world around me faded to black? Well, this is the problem with false accusations, with fake accusations of any kind of abuse, is that the only two witnesses are the person you're accusing and yourself. And so the only thing we can do to decide whether or not you're lying about this is if we can prove if you're lying about a bunch of other stuff too. And we have. We've proven that this woman has lied about a bunch of other stuff. So why would we believe her about any of this either? I don't. And that's my right based on the evidence that I have, that I've seen, that I believe that she lies a lot. She even admits that she lies. So at this point, you know...
She lied?
I don't know. When I was choked so violently that I genuinely believed I would never take another breath, were they present for the countless nights of terror, the moments when I felt... I'll tell you what, I've read all the text messages between her and Mike Maricini, and never once did I see anything in there about her telling him what a terrible thing it was for him to have choked her or done any of that to her. It's nowhere in there. There's nothing in there so far where anything is about, you did this thing to me. And based on the things that she has said to him, I don't see it. You would think that she would bring it up too, with all the stuff she said in the text messages. She talks a lot in those text messages, and paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. I felt utterly powerless and alone, but didn't have the courage to leave. They weren't there when I was gasping for air, resigned to the fact that I might die, and hating myself so much I didn't care if he killed me. They weren't there. All the text messages between her and Mike are her begging him not to leave her because she's made all these bad mistakes and has made his life misery. None of the text messages are her saying, you know, why did you do this to me? None of them. I haven't found any.
I think the whole claim she's making is, in hindsight, which again has no leg to it, but in hindsight, it's the rough sex that they were having, which again, it could have just been him holding her shoulder as they banged. There's no paper trail of any evidence until it was convenient to her that this happened.
Yeah, like
The
are there
importance of safe
doctors?
words.
Are there doctors' reports? Like this is the same thing with Amber Heard and her description of that infamous bottle incident. And it's like she said her feet were all cut up with glass. She was walking on glass. She had to have cuts all over her. She should have been bleeding internally, but never sought any medical care. Not one doctor's record. And this is the same thing. You had all this stuff. You almost died. You've got your eyes are popping out of your head or whatever. You've got veins. But you don't seek medical attention. There's no medical records. This is why people don't believe it. They didn't witness the terror in my eyes, the desperation in my heart. They speak with such certainty as if they've seen into the darkest corners of my life, yet they know nothing. Here's the thing: if you're going to accuse someone of this, you need it publicly. You need to have evidence to back it up. So far, we don't have any. How do they claim to know these things didn't happen? Because there's no evidence. How can they sit behind their screens and call this man my victim? Because he clearly is. And you did the same thing to him you've done to your other victims. The sheer cruelty and absurdity of their accusations turn my life into an unending nightmare. Every day I'm bombarded with their relentless hate. No, it's not hate. Their determination to discredit and destroy me. They act as if their words are facts, and if their belief can rewrite my history and erase my pain. They have convinced me that I am an unproductive person. And with that in mind, I take a nap.
I thought that was a little bit funny too. I chuckled at that.
I'm sorry, but that is funny. It's like, wait, if you were a productive person, though, you wouldn't be able to just take a nap in the middle of the day because you would have things you needed to get to. You would have a job you needed to show up for. Productive people don't have time to just take a nap.
Unless you have a mouse jiggler, because I could go take a nap.
Right, maybe she needs a mouse jiggler. As I do throughout the day, I think about my miscarriage. As horrible as the bullying has been, nothing compares to the overwhelming sadness I feel about it. But not a single person outside my immediate circle has said they were sorry about it. I wake up not feeling refreshed. My resolve is wearing thin. My attorney calls offering support. He's been my rock through this nightmare. God, I would not want this rock in my life. I'll tell you that much right now. He's been my rock in this nightmare. But even he can't shield me from the constant barrage. We discuss our next legal moves, but I know every step will be met with more attacks. They twist our intentions, rally their followers, and keep the pressure on. It's brutal. It's exhausting. My lawyer and I need to focus on the order of protection I got against him, which he wants reversed, and the injunction against harassment that he got against me, which he wants attorney's fees for. It's preposterous. Is it though?
Why?
Is it though? Is it preposterous?
Why is it preposterous?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she is trying to say. I don't know. Did my mic just disappear?
Yeah, you
Yes.
just got really quiet.
Really quiet? Hold on. I don't know what's going on with this.
Now
mic.
you're back.
Okay. All right. Let's leave it there then, shall we? All right. I shake my head. I shake my head thinking about the injunction against harassment. He wrote in his petition that I sent him 100 emails and texts in 4 months. By the time we got to the hearing, that number had inexplicably ballooned to 500. No proof, no documentation, kind of like her pregnancy claims. Just his word against mine, kind of like her abuse claims. I recall my attorney arguing that there was no evidence, no concrete proof of this escalation, but the judge just took his word for it. Oh, you mean like Judge Duty, who took your word for it that you were pregnant? Same kind of thing, right? No questions asked. The look of smug satisfaction on his face as he delivered his inflated accusations is etched into my memory. The public has jumped on that 500 figure despite the complete lack of proof. To them, it was a damning piece of evidence that painted me as unhinged. The number took a life of its own, repeated and amplified until it became an unquestioned truth. My denials, my evidence to the contrary, were drowned out by the sheer volume of their voices. Well, I don't think I've ever claimed it was exactly 500. I know that she sent him lots of emails. I don't know how many, and I would like Clayton to be able to count them. That would be great. I don't know if he can, because she sent him so many emails from different email addresses. I don't know if he even, and he's blocked a bunch of them. I don't even know if he can. Meanwhile, the order of protection I secured against him was based on clear documented harassment. He posted things that incited his followers to harass me, and it was explicitly written in that order, but somehow that became twisted. No, the judge said that he gave the order because of the picture. His side argued that I fraudulently filed a sonogram to obtain the order. You did. And that was the basis for it. That couldn't be further from the truth, and anyone who listens to the hearing, which the cult obtains, will see how many grounds it was granted on, with none of those being based on an ultrasound. I want to defend myself, but there's no point to it. This is a script that I have no control over. Well, if you want to, she's defending herself right now. So why do it if there's no point? Where the ending is predetermined and nothing I can say or do will change it. I want to do something meaningful with the waning hours in the day, but we're still not at the end of the day, folks. We haven't got there yet. But why should I when they will do everything in their power to halt every forward step I take? Literally every detail of my life has been meticulously combed through, searching for any possible way to discredit me. My businesses, my livelihood, everything I've built is under constant attack. They've questioned my permits and licenses. I've never done that. Trying to find
nobody gives a shit about that. Like, just leave other people alone, you know?
Yeah. They've questioned my permits and licenses, trying to find any flaw they can exploit. Even the zoning department was contacted. I didn't contact them. About renovations to my horse facilities that were completed years ago, attempting to stir up trouble. Or maybe they were just trying to verify a fact. I don't know. I don't know that story. But despite a visit from them, the cult didn't have success. Of course, more victims came forward, people who had bad interactions with me. Anyone would have victims if phrased that way. The contractor I sued and won against, or the landlord I called noise complaints on during the pandemic for co-hosting parties at my old apartment building. They've recruited... Oh, so she was a COVID snitch. Nice. They've recruited... I bet she double masked it, too.
Oh.
Can you imagine? She was double masking and screaming at people on the sidewalk, 5 feet, 5 feet.
You'd think a double
Or 6
mask
feet.
would prevent the fellatio twins to arrive, but apparently she wasn't social distancing.
They've recruited anyone who might have had a negative interaction with me to come forward. Well, that's pretty normal for a case like this. Every disagreement, every conflict has been twisted into evidence of my supposed villainy. Every interaction is scrutinized. Every mistake magnified, every flaw exploited. In regards to the injunction against harassment that he got against me, he claimed in his... Oh, I already... Didn't I... She's
Nope.
redoing this. He claimed in his
She
initial
repeated herself.
petition
That tripped me up, too.
that I sent him 100 emails and texts in 4 months. Then when we got to the hearing with no justification or proof, this was an editing problem. She didn't go back and edit. He said that I had sent 500 and the judge took his word for it. Meanwhile, the order of protection I have against him is entirely because he posted things that incited his followers to harass me. That's exactly how the thing is written. Yet his side claims that I fraudulently filed a sonogram and that it was the basis of it. As if, again, another as if. Maybe nothing bothers me more. As if.
I love a good Clueless reference because it's literally her whole identity is how clueless she is that she can't get out of this.
True. Maybe nothing bothers me more than what has been said about me on YouTube, Patreon, and in podcasts. What is she doing in your Patreon, Dave?
Hey, she's supporting independent content creators. At least she's got a little, she's there helping us a little bit. Thank you.
She's paying to hear these things that she says upsets her so much.
I want to thank her father for the Patreon money. We appreciate it. I will use that money to defend myself in any lawsuits from his daughter.
One content creator in particular has made hundreds, if not thousands of hours of content about me every day, turning my life into a living hell.
Thousands of hours every day. Wow, you're busy.
By the way, can I just say this? I encourage Jane Doe to let me know which email she's using to be in my Patreon. Because if that email lines up with the same start day as Chase J. Jones, I would find that extremely interesting now that Chase J. Jones has gone missing in my Patreon. Because as we know, Chase J. Jones changed their email to something else. That way I can't track them because we've had such a great 3,000 people join. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same one, but I don't think she'll share that with us.
Let's see. Why I turn on his... He's making a fortune off these monetized videos while my income has been dwindling. I turn on one of his videos knowing I should be working, but why should I even bother? Oh, I don't know. So you can feed yourself?
I mean, let me tell you something. I'm not here to run a victory lap, but this is how good my streams are.
Yeah, well, I empathize with her. I do the same thing. I should be working, but Dave's streaming.
Mate, can I just real quick? Can I get a full screen here? Can I get some? If you don't mind, I just wanted to really promote something with the national anthem. My channel is throwing fastballs down the middle. No, okay, I'm done. That's all. Thank you. Oh, sorry, hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. But,
you had the breaking news button.
I just started hitting. I got fat fingers. I started hitting buttons. I'm bloated. It's going all over the place. It's all the burritos I've been eating. But I mean, look,
I love this. Knowing I should be working, but why should I even bother? Well, it's just another indication that you don't have to work, that you are the spoiled little rich girl everybody says. Because if you did have to work, guess what? People go to work when they're emotionally upset by things. They go to work. They don't sit around and watch YouTube videos. They go to work because they have to go to work. Otherwise, they get fired. No one's going to fire her, though, because she doesn't have a real job. And I'm sorry, it's not a real job if you don't have to show up.
Or you're like me and you watch YouTube videos while you work. Hey,
Or while you sleep, as Jeff has shown.
I do the videos while I sleep. I watch them while I'm working.
I am on the clock right now.
I am not a murderer, thank God. I mean, that could happen at any moment, I feel like. I don't know. I don't want this to escalate, which is why I want it all to stop. I am a 34-year-old woman who has been pregnant 4 times. Has she? 4 times? I thought it was
that
3.
number has changed. Yeah.
So this is what everyone has to listen to Reality Steve's podcast today. This is what I covered. He just laughed at the fact that her Medium article said 3 times and now it's 4 times. So hey, I mean,
thought so.
And the only reason we know of Matt is because she offered that information up at the deposition. She was afraid that they already knew, so she admitted to it. And then they're like, "Oh, there's another guy," and she's like, yeah. So you do.
I had 2 miscarriages and 2 abortions. Why is this so hard to believe? Well, we've given you all those reasons.
I'll answer that rhetorical question.
Why are they obsessed with making sure the entire city, no, the entire world never comes into contact with me, making me undateable? Look, here's a reality check. The entire world has not heard these podcasts. I mean, it hasn't even gone to mainstream media. So you're talking about maybe, how many people are here? 1,480 right now, 1,480. There's probably about 5,000 to 10,000 people on Earth that know about this right now. I mean, it will get bigger if Megyn Kelly or a Piers Morgan picks it up. But right now, you're only talking about 10,000 people, maybe less. Maybe
By the
5.
way, who's Clayton gonna speak with today? Do you know?
I
Do you
don't
know the story? I don't know either. I'm glad he didn't tell us because I have a fat mouth. But he's going on somebody's channel and it's supposed to be a big deal today. And I've just been waiting to find out what it'll be. So
Did they say what time?
No, I didn't say what time. But he didn't want to spook it, and I get it. So maybe it'll be the evening news. Who knows? But we'll be. I'm sure we'll all cover it when it happens.
And let's be honest, what's making her undateable is her own conduct. It is not us reporting her conduct. It is her conduct. And unfortunately for her, that she's done it so many times that now people started to notice and talk about it. But it is her conduct that makes her, if she is undateable, although I don't really believe that. I'm sure that there's somebody out there who thinks he can fix her. I mean, where's Unhung Hero? Unhung Hero thinks he can fix her. So, there's somebody. She's making a mockery of true abuse survivors, they write. Well, yeah, some of us believe that. JD's actions discredit real victims everywhere. They do. How dare she claim to be a victim when she's the real abuser? Yeah, well, each accusation, each hateful comment is a dagger to my soul. The people who claim to seek justice are the very ones who perpetuate my suffering. They are relentless, and their hatred is a constant presence in my life because she looks at it all day long. They have turned my struggle for survival into a spectacle, feeding off my pain and using it to fuel their own agendas. As evening approaches, oh my God, we're still not at the end of the day. I try to find some peace. I order dinner, but the food tastes like ash in my mouth. I push the plate away, too anxious to eat. I check my phone one last time before bed, to give myself nightmares before I lay down to go to sleep. I check the phone again, hoping for some supportive messages. There are a few, but the majority are filled with hate. They know how close I've come to breaking, how their words have pushed me to the brink. They know, and yet they don't stop. They revel in my pain, in the power they have to make me suffer. It's like they're feeding on my misery, growing stronger with every tear I shed, every moment of despair they cause. And so I would argue with this because I believe she has brought her misery on herself. That's what, being self-aware and taking responsibility for your actions would bring, is a recognition that the things you've done and the conduct you've been engaging in brings you misery. Like me here on the internet, Dave, Lauren, Jeff, none of us have any power to inflict misery on this person because she's done these things. That doesn't make sense. And legally speaking, if she's trying to set up here, if something happens to me, you're all going to be liable. No, that's not how it works. It is not how it works. And if she is feeling like self-harming, she needs to go and get help. People who do self-harm have a problem, and it's a problem that they alone have responsibility for.
Her last vlog had the FBI called. I'd be happy to share that. I think you guys have heard the conversation, and I wonder if this will have the FBI called. I mean, I don't know if it meets the same criteria, but it's damn close.
It's getting there.
Talking about how they've got.
Somebody should. I mean, since David's not going to do it, if I were like a family or like someone close to their family, then yeah, I would probably at this point call for like a wellness check or something. Just if anything, just to cover your bases. Because
I
don't believe that. Yeah,
I don't believe should have done it.
Right. I don't think that she's actually, and I'll say this. I don't think that she's going to like off herself. I don't. But that doesn't mean that she's not going to cause any sort of harm to herself.
Yeah, and also, so you had said in your video when you read this that like using these threats of suicide as a weapon is something that is, one, extremely distressing, and two, something that she does and has a pattern of doing. And I have the proof of that. As soon as we get through with this, I'm going to show you the pattern that she has. When she gets backed into a corner, she will threaten suicide. Now, does anybody want her to do that? No, absolutely not. We want her to go and get help if she's feeling this way. But we have evidence that shows, and this is what makes it so difficult. It's like when someone does this, it is like a nuclear bomb, right? It is like the thing that stops all conversation. Oh no. If she's this low that she's going to do something like she said to you, Dave, the blood will be on your hands, right? She told you, if I do something to myself, the blood is on your hands. That is a manipulation. It doesn't seem real.
And I never shared it, and I never exploited that threat she made. I kind of like ate that threat, and then she exploited it when she made a Medium article saying, I told Dave Neal the blood would be on his hands. She damn did say that. She absolutely said that. I read that email at midnight before I went to bed while I was at home visiting family. She continues to find ways to sort of torment me on times that I'm supposed to be living my best life. And I ate it, and I didn't weaponize it. I didn't monetize it. I took it to heart, and I continued telling the truth.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely used as a threat. Dave, did you ever read that email or publish it?
I could search for it.
You should, because I want to add it to my collection now to show the pattern, and because that's what we're doing. We're showing the pattern of what she does. I shudder as I think about a more recent development. My private emails to the alleged father and 2,500 pages of text with the abusive boyfriend who strangled me have been disseminated, dissected, and critiqued by strangers. Who would want all their messages to be public? Would anyone be proud of every single text they've ever sent? No, I would hate that, which is why, by the way, Laura, I haven't done that. I have not disseminated them. I have looked through them for evidence of what's related to this case. And I haven't shared one yet. The first one I'm going to share is going to be today because of this blog post. So you need to start asking yourself if you should continue doing this, because every time you do and you make these claims and allegations, it causes the journalist looking into this to then have to give more information about what it is you're claiming. And
David knows that too.
I hadn't done that.
He let it happen.
Yeah, he let this happen. He's the one who's doing. She's trying to set us up to be to blame for something that happens to her, and this is my only defense, which is no. This is her pattern. This is what she does, and now we have to show it. If you don't want your text messages, thank you, Marissa. Yes, if you don't want your text messages read by the world, don't sue every guy who doesn't want to be with you. Yeah. Exactly. And no one has published all those text messages, by the way. I just want you to know that the 2,500 pages of text, I don't know who else has access to them. I know I do, but I haven't published any of them. Today will be the first time we're going to look at 2 of them. Would anyone be proud of it? The intimate, painful, and ugly details of my life are now fodder for public consumption, used to shame and belittle me further. No, it's really just trying to make you stop, really. It's not for shame. It's not for belittlement. Even though I think you should be ashamed of your conduct, it's to make this stop. It's a violation that adds insult to injury, compounding the trauma of my past with the scrutiny of the present. I tried not to cry all day, but I can't hold back the tears anymore. I wonder why they are so obsessed with ruining my public image entirely. Why were you so obsessed with ruining Clayton's public image entirely? Including the email I'm about to get to, where you wrote to a suicide prevention organization and got him canceled from speaking, and claimed in that email that he made you suicidal. So why are you so obsessed, Laura, with destroying Mike Maricini's reputation by calling him an abuser? And you did it publicly in a TEDx talk, and you did it in Chicken Soup for the Soul, and you've been doing it on blog posts. Why are you so obsessed with ruining the reputations of men who didn't want to date you? That's the question you should be asking.
Somebody's suicidal threats have a clear target, like the blood would be on Dave's hands, or like targeting the organization that Clayton was supposed to work with, like, then that's a red flag. That is somebody who's not really being sincere.
I just shared it with you. I do have to take off in a minute. I'm on Patreon now, but if you did want to read the email that she threatened me with, I just it's in the chat, or it's in the shared file right now. You can see the highlighted part where she makes these threats to me. I don't think I've ever shared this.
What shared file?
I'm sorry, it's on I've got it on my shared window right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I screen grabbed it.
Go ahead.
So she sent this to me and my lawyer, who is also named David. Lots of Davids here.
All right, go ahead. You want to read it,
Oh,
Dave?
you read it. I can't. I just can't. Sorry.
All right. Hi, I'm unsure who I should contact, so I'm putting both of you on this message. On October 17th, Mr. Neal made a video saying that he would need to receive a cease and desist from a lawyer in order to stop talking about me. On October 18th, my attorney... Can you scooch it over a little, or is it cut off like that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, let me figure this out.
My attorney, Josh, sent him that letter. John Bourne sent him that letter. On October 19th, Mr. Neal emailed me saying, waving the white flag, just tell me which videos you want deleted. It'll be done by the end of the day. Only want everyone's mental health to be safe. I wish you no ill will and hope you're okay. My understanding from that was that he was not going to speak about me anymore. However, this didn't last long. On October 29th, I sent Mr. Neal the attached email offering to have the medical records sent directly to you confirming the pregnancies if you will stop the coverage. He read the email many times according to MailTrack, but did not respond.
Still reading those emails, by the way, so she's still getting alerts. Yeah, I'm looking through it all. And again, as we've seen, those medical records were fabricated HCG tests and a ultrasound of her sister's baby.
Today he wrote that all he would need to see to change his mind about my credibility and therefore his coverage is a paper trail of medical records that any pregnant woman would have in a first world country.
Stand by that.
I offered
We're a
him,
third world country, really.
Really?
Third world countries with better medical records here.
I offered him exactly this. There couldn't be anything more concrete to offer him than to have my providers send him the records directly. I was advised not to offer this, as it is completely unnecessary to be sending my most personal medical information to a comedian, but I have been desperate to stop him. While Mr. Neal is monetizing from this now, that won't be the case in the long run. I am losing all of my income as a result of his completely unnecessary defamation. I have had to halt my business indefinitely. I don't know if he understands how serious what he is doing is, but the damages on my end are adding up quickly. He is the only person to keep this story alive, and his obsession with me is extremely scary.
See how close she was to getting this story? I mean, you weren't here yet. You know, obviously the LawTube didn't know about it. I mean, I was on the battlefield with my little musket fighting an artillery of bullshit here.
Yeah,
God
right.
bless you guys for showing up. Oh, my gosh. I was wounded. I looked like one of those World War II guys. I had blood. I just was like,
oh, I remember.
Somebody help me.
When I came into this, it was like I remember seeing something that you were doing where you were upset about the Bachelor content creators who wouldn't wouldn't back you, who wouldn't tell the story. And I was like, what a bunch of cowards. Watch out, here I come. You know, like don't be so I don't know, like
Yeah, these
just
content creators
cowardly.
like Nick Vial, people go, oh, well, maybe he was too busy to know. He had spoken on the phone to Clayton Echard. He knew the whole story left and right. He just didn't want to cover it because unless Clayton was going to speak the words, he didn't want anything to deal with it. And it's like, all right, how brave.
Yeah, this is it was terrible what they did to you. Terrible. And I'm sorry that you struggled with it by yourself for so long, because I imagine that stress was terrible on both of you and Tasha. He is the only person to keep the story alive, blah, blah, blah. My rental house got broken into last week, and I believe it was by one of Mr. Neal's followers, as one of them posted details on Reddit about the home right after that were not visible in the photos on Airbnb.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what Mr. Neal's end game is, but it's abundantly clear that all he cares about is making money. Somehow he sees my life story as a pot of gold, which is truly sick. The teasing, harassment, bullying, and stalking that has resulted from his reporting has left me suicidal. If he truly cared about mental health as he claims, he would stop reporting on this and delete the videos he has, just as he promised he would do. I have nothing to do with The Bachelor. I have no idea why he's relying on my dangerous ex, who has a serious axe to grind against me, as his source. I want it in writing that if something happens to me, my blood is on his hands.
Oh, for God's sake.
If I am somehow able to make it through, I will be filing a sizable lawsuit against him for defamation. Please let me know if you would simply like to drop this and allow me to move on with my life. All the best.
The blood is on your hands, Dave Neal.
This is horrific type of abuse is what this is.
I mean, even knowing what we know now, my heart jumps because I am such a pacifist. I am so anti-war, anti-confrontation. Even if I deal with a heckler on stage and get a good laugh after roasting them, I feel bad on the way home. Because I do what a lot of comics do. We tell jokes because we want people to get along. We tell jokes to diffuse fights. We do all these other things. I want nothing to do with any blood on my hands over this. I'm simply focused on the people who have been damaged from her. We all know this now. But this is, I mean, over half a year ago, this is what we were dealing with. And since then, and again, she was sending me all this stuff, and I wasn't reading all of the medical information because I was like done. I was detached from all of that. It's in hindsight I've come back and realized that she was lying about everything here, and she still almost had us. She still almost had us here. Because if I did delete everything, then she would say, Dave Neal deleted everything. Why is this other person covering it? And she'd whack-a-mole all the way to the finish line.
This is really disturbing, and this is what I mean by, this is a pattern of behavior. It's a pattern that when she's backed into a corner, when someone's about to find out the truth, she will make these threats. Now, of course, we cannot say for certainty whether or not she is actually suicidal or not. I can say that I think it's probably manipulation. But on the other hand, if she is feeling suicidal, she needs to go and get help. But that is not Dave Neal's problem. That is not Dave Neal who needs to do that. It is her family and friends who need to come around her and make sure that she gets the help that she needs. This is a woman who went to the press and asked the press for the anal exam into her life. That's what happens when you go to the press. You say, I have this story. It's about this famous person or whatever, and here's my evidence. Well, you're releasing that. You also filed a public lawsuit, which people will look into, especially in a high-profile case. You cannot then turn around and say that this is somehow because you went to the press, you did all these things. Now you're feeling suicidal because people found out you were lying. So this is really upsetting. It is very distressing that she is doing this, that her lawyer is allowing it to continue.
And by the way, without knowing the full context of the story, I can't share this with friends because then I look like the crazy person. I'm not sharing it at the time with my wife because she's pregnant and I'm trying to protect her sanity. So when she goes, Dave, why are you staring at the ceiling with your eyes wide open? We're in bed. I say, oh, I don't know. I'm thinking of that Red Sox game. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is so isolating. And that's why she wants to share things privately, criticize you when you go public with it, and all these other things. I'm so lucky that at the time I had the intuition to make everything public because we knew that was the best protection from all of this. And everything that's been made public has been used against her because it's all fraud. And I couldn't have done that without the whole audience and you and everyone else coming to my side here. But I knew at the time that time was working against us because she was going to claim miscarriage. She was going to we weren't going to get any of that evidence. And by calling it out early on, it just forced her hand to just delay, more evidence, cross-examinations, things on the record, perjury, and all these things came out. But there are so many ways this story could have played out where Clayton decides just to drop things and everyone moves on. And then 6 months from now, she's back with chicken soup for the Monster Energy drinks and, telling complete lies about me. So I just feel like a guardian angel was like, Dave, don't put, even my wife's so risk adverse. She hates hearing the drama. She's a highly sensitive person. I said to her, do you want me to drop this? She said, no, you can't drop this. So even she knew you got to keep pursuing this because it's going to bite us in the ass if we don't.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did because that's how we found out about it and how you got some support and you needed some support because this is just terrible. Jeff, the chat wants to know if Jeff is sleeping.
No.
Nope, he's still there.
It's not interrupting.
and by the way, people were asking about the timeline of that. That was November 6, 2023. And that was, she still for weeks was saying she was pregnant and all these other things, or for months really. So we weren't even close to the finish line here, but going back and looking at these, it is kind of cathartic in some ways. I mean, it's good to know that the FBI has resources to help people that make these claims. I never called the FBI on her. She called them on me separately, but they did get involved. Marsha Clark or whatever her name was, someone got involved in Virginia or wherever and made the right phone calls to Scottsdale police to get this on the record to say you can't just be threatening suicide without at least people trying to put funds together to make sure you're okay. Anyhow, look, I got to go on Patreon and make the podcast so I can get my weed whacking done and all that.
Well, thank you for dropping by and for sharing that. I'm going to finish this and then we're going to get to your super chats and then we're going to go to the pattern and practice of her behavior because I have it laid out for you. Dave,
I
thanks
can't wait
so much
to
for
listen.
being here.
Thanks so
much for being here.
Well, good to see you again, Dave.
Bye, guys. Take care.
All right, let's power through this.
I said this yesterday, but I just to add, like, I told you guys that I had an ex who faked cancer, right?
Yeah.
And I've been working with psych patients for several years, but yesterday when I was talking to some people about this blog, I had said, I've also been in an inpatient psych facility for suicidal thoughts. And that's not something that you're going to use. You're not going to write an email about it and throw it at someone if you're like really sincere. It's embarrassing. Like, it's not something that I just bring up casually like that. And then other people started to share their stories like, hey, when I was suicidal, like this, and this, and like stuff like that. And like people who have ever really experienced this. And I thought that was really kind of powerful in a way, just to like hear from other people like, hey, I've actually been through this and this is not what you do when you're actually having this problem.
I've actually had friends, one friend who committed suicide who no one had any clue at all before it happened. It was a shocking, horrible surprise.
Yeah.
And it leaves people, trying to figure out what went wrong, what did he ever ask for help? Did we know that he was having these thoughts? And the truth is that most people who do this, who actually follow through, don't ever give any warning signs. They don't tell people, which is what makes it so horrible. Now, I'm not saying that someone who has gone through with it has never said something or never been suicidal in the past or didn't let people know. It's just that from what I have experienced, I have not seen that. I have not seen this type of behavior in people who actually do it.
Right. You're not, I mean, they're not really like using, even if you were to tell somebody, hey, I'm suicidal, and like what you did was like what really upset me, they're not like emailing organizations you're attached to, and they're not like emailing lawyers or whatever and saying the blood will be on his hands and stuff like that. Like that's just, I don't know, that's very manipulative in my opinion.
And it's a smart play because it leaves people without being able to, it puts you in between a rock and a hard place. If you say, well, I don't really believe this threat, and then the threat is carried out, well, then it's, then you're wrong, and people are going to blame you and whatever. And so it's a smart thing to do for a manipulator. I'm not going to say it isn't smart, but I think it's really disturbing.
Yeah.
And just more evidence that she really does need help. I don't know what kind of help, but she needs help. I'm going to power through this, and then we're going to get to Super Chats, and then we're going to go to the pattern. Why anyone would care... Oh, I want to leave a legacy that leaves an impact on the world. I want to leave it better than I found it. But this relentless harassment has made me so self-centered. Why would anyone I want to help care to associate with me, let alone speak to me, if this is who I appear to be when they look me up? I'm scared that no one will... Well, this is your own fault, Laura. You did this to you. You made your Google search results what they are. And you can make them better again. You can go to your horse farm and your horse work. You can rescue more horses. You can continue... You can save some more horses and just dedicate your life to doing that, and then you'll recover. Stop dedicating your life to making men who don't want to date you. That's all you have to do. I'm scared that no one will ever see the real me, the person who wants to help, to inspire, to leave a positive impact. Well, then you would have to start helping, inspiring, and leaving a positive impact. If you wanted that to be your legacy, those are the things you need to do, not being litigious and malicious and a liar. Those are the things you have to change. Those are the things you have to stop. And I'm talking to Laura the way that I would talk to my own daughter, my daughters who I love, and my children, my son. I would tell them all the same thing. If you want to leave a positive impact on the world, you must engage your energy in positive things. You cannot spend your life tearing others down, trying to harm and do all this negative shit and expect it not to come back on you. Karma is real. The law of the universe is real. Like you are going to get what you give. You're going to reap what you sow. You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. You lie, you create documents, medical records. At some point, it's going to come out. And that's where you're at right now. I'm going to tell her the same thing that I told my friend who's going through it right now, that everybody knows. You have made your bed. You now have to lie in it. There is a way back. There is a way back to coming back and being the thing you want to be. But you have to own up to the things that you've done. You must get honest. Live with honesty. It's the only way forward.
Here's something really kind of crazy. Did you ever hear of Jackie Addis?
No.
Okay. Well, she was this woman in Arizona, and she was in Arizona at the time, and she was all over like BuzzFeed and all that shit like a few years back because she had sent this guy she went on one date with like hundreds of thousands of texts, and she was somebody that I had met like shortly before that happened, and what she was doing was like she was truly ill, like really delusional, like really psychotic. Not like what I'm seeing here, but she was court ordered to treatment. She went inpatient for a while. She moved back to Florida. I actually heard from her after that, and she was actually doing better, like living a normal life. She had a job. Like you can come back from just about anything if you go and you get help and you really want it and you really accept it. So
yeah, you have to work for it though. You have to do the work that is required. You have to do that. Legal Vices, you've got to get going. Thank you so much for being here.
About that time, yeah. I had my little nap, got to do stuff.
Have a great time with your family. I wish you could come to Arizona with us on the 10th. I know you're going to be going back. I wish you could extend your vacation. We're going to miss him.
I'll miss it by 2 days.
By 2 days. 2 days. Hey, but guess what? I'm actually now going to be in Arizona on the 6th. So if you can wander down sometime between the 6th and when you have to go, maybe we can hang out.
Yeah, I go the morning of the 8th. My family probably would get really pissed if I said, the last day I have till next year, I'm going to bounce to Arizona for a day.
Yeah,
me.
Probably. All right. Well, have a great rest of your
Thanks.
vacation. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you, Megan.
Good to meet you.
You too, Lauren. Have a great day,
Thanks,
guys.
Doris. You're
I'll
very
see you
sweet.
soon.
See you, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye. All right, let's see. They'll read my obsessed content creators will make monetized videos dissecting my words, mocking my pain, making fun of my looks, and stripping me of my humanity. They'll read my story, criticize every sentence, and use it to fuel their hateful narratives. But I need to speak. I need to reclaim my voice, if only for a moment, even if it means giving them more ammunition to attack me with. I need to feel like my existence still matters. What is their end goal? The truth, Laura. That's it. Just the truth. For Clayton, for Mike, for Greg, for Matt. Just the truth. That's it. Why do they get an adrenaline rush from trying to break someone who they know has been suicidal? For one, we do not know you've been suicidal. Period. You have said it many, many times, but we do not know it. And if you are, you need to get help. The problem is, and no one's getting an adrenaline rush from trying to break you. This is just silly. I'm a journalist. My job is to, and I've written a book on false accusations. I have a special interest in false accusations. And false accusations are very damaging to the people who you have accused. And that needs to stop. So there's no adrenaline rush here. I feel very sad. Frankly, I feel very sad about all of this. I feel sad for her. I feel sad for Clayton. I feel sad for everyone involved. I feel sad for your parents who didn't get a hold of this when you were young and make you better, like get you help that you needed. I feel sad that they didn't do that or couldn't do that for whatever reason. I don't think that this is, especially this that we're going over now, there's just nothing funny about any of this. This is just tragic. And it's really awful and unethical that her attorney has done this. Why do they feel like this is a good community to be a part of? Oh, a community of people who want the truth? I think it's a great community. I haven't seen anybody doing any of these things that she's claiming. I lie there staring into the darkness, feeling the weight of their hatred pressing down on me. The anxiety, the fear, the exhaustion, it all crashes over me like a wave, threatening to pull me under. But I hold on because I have to, because I can't let them win. Not today, at least. I can last another 24 hours. But I'm terrified that one day their words will be the final push that sends me over the edge. They won't stop until they've broken me completely, until there's nothing left. They won't stop until I'm dead. This is inexcusable. That her attorney allowed this to be out there.
Yeah, I'm not entertaining the idea that anyone here would actually be responsible if she actually hurt herself. Like, that's bullshit. So
nobody wants her dead.
No.
This is ridiculous. And look at, this is her trying to silence free speech. I'm terrified their words will be the final push that sends me over the edge. Laura, if you're feeling like you have a problem and you are being pushed to the edge somehow because of the things you read online, you need to seek help. You need to seek therapy for this.
I think that if anybody were to feel the need to call a wellness check, like in her family or friends, maybe do it now, because she's saying like she's getting close to the edge and stuff like that. And that would give her enough time to like get help and be healthy before she has to really kind of face these things that she's done that's really causing her to feel upset with herself or upset with other people even.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is crazy. This is, I can't believe an attorney did this. Okay, we're going to take a break from this now, and I'm going to get to super chats because they have been piling up, and I am sorry that I didn't get to them, but let's do that. Laura Owens, thanks for the 5, says Megan's going to be late. I've been late, and it's scary. Go get an HCG test ASAP. Could be twins. Laura Owens again. Megan, wear that boob shirt again because I sure can't. Fallen Hero 4567, thanks for the 2, says hi everyone. Well, hello. Kelly Steffi says I lost my daughter at 20 weeks and also have experienced a lady who has faked multiple times being pregnant as well as cancer. We went to Dr. Phil. Terrible. Laura Owens again. I can't escape to a psych facility. Not the first time. I switched to plan B. The thing is, she's just done too many things that make people believe she isn't sincere about anything. Nancy H., thanks for the 5. Megan, 19th Judicial District, no problem. Judge Gail Horn Ray needs written needs to be written about and added to your wall of shame. Okay, let me make a note. Judge Gail Horn Ray. All right, I'll look her up. Thanks for the tip. Casey Cat, thanks for the 5. This is strategy, and she is 1, seeking sympathy, 2, trying to push back the trial. She can't lie her way out anymore. It's possible, and I do see that. Laura Owens, thanks for the 5. Wow, a panel member for each of my baby daddy. Well, technically each of my court cases. There have been a lot. Equality, thanks for the 2. You guys are the best. Love you guys so much. Thank you. Appreciate you. Paul Berry, thanks for the 2. Is Gingras charging $400 an hour to write these posts? He claims that he's not paying anything. Oh, by the way, Johnny Reb on Rumble sent Lawrax a $2 Rumble rant to me, which is funny. He says, hey, Lawrax, I don't get a chance to rant at you. I don't YouTube chat. I will make sure I pass on that message to him, Johnny, as I gleefully keep the chat for myself. Louise Chopiak, thanks for the 10, says, I had a dream that a bunch of us went to Olive Garden and the breadsticks were dancing on the table singing breadstick money. I was laughing so hard my husband woke me to ask what was so funny. That's really funny. K-Rab, thanks for the 5. We are laughing at Gingras and his stupidity. I can't remember ever laughing at Jane Doe. Generally, with her, it's just discussing the facts of the case. Well, I mean, we've poked fun at her behavior because it is laughable. So much of it is laughable. I'm not going to apologize for using ridicule or humor or anything to discuss, stories of public interest. Like, I'm not going to apologize for that. That's what we do. Tracy Fagan, thanks for the 2. Lauren, is he making this worse? I think he's making it worse, but I could be wrong. All right, hey Bales, welcome to the Fox Den. It's weird in here. You'll get used to it though. Risa Murphy, thanks for the 10. The horse's mane, perfectly normal to cut the mane on show horses. However, the mane needs serious thinning. This is done with a comb, teasing a section, wrapping the longer portion, and pulling hair out. Ugh, sounds painful. DMC, she seems paranoid or lying for sympathy. She should be telling her therapist this and not the whole world. Yes! This started because she told the whole world lies about a guy because he didn't want to date her. Yeah. And her lawyer should be directing her. When she showed him that and she asked his advice should have been, Laura, you need to tell this to your therapist. And that's it. Winks, thanks for the 10. She purposely every day, multiple times a day, goes on Dave's Discord, Reddit, Dave's Patreon, and reads everything. Why? She can control that. Right. It's self-inflicted. Laura Owens, thanks for the 2. Never forget, imaging proved that I'm full of shit. It's true. Louise Chopiak, thanks for the 5. Federal DNA stays in a mother's blood for decades. Little to no fetal DNA proves she has never been pregnant. Mary Thurston, thanks for the 5. Apple juice on a pea stick will make a positive test, just FYI. I don't know if that's true, but that might be a fun test to do, a science project. Marcy M, thanks for the 5. Jane Doe is her own worst enemy, sadly, yet she alone has the ability to change her trajectory, and I pray that she does. I agree. Jennifer Baker, thanks for the 10. Deleting my social media and driving through Montana today from beautiful Flathead Lake to Helena. Cool. Or Helena. Helena? Yeah. Enjoy that, because it's going to be a really nice mental break for you to be off social media and just be enjoying God's creation, because it's beautiful. Laura says, I do need to eat healthier. That's why I'll be relaxing in Bora Bora starting June 9th. All the best. Also, says Laura Owens, thanks for the 5. Also, can anyone explain to me what a W-2 form is? I've never gotten one, so I don't know. A W-2 is from an employer? What's an employer? Exactly. Casey Cat, thanks for the 5. If she wants people to stop talking about her, stop giving them stuff to talk about. Go away, get mental health treatment. People will move on to the next story. And that is what we've been telling her from the very beginning. La Jordan, thanks for the 10, was her claim in the Uber lawsuit that the accident gave her epilepsy. Ooh, that's a good question. We have that lawsuit. We should go back and look. If so, could Uber go after her for lying about damages? Otherwise, wouldn't the confusion help Mike if he wants the TRO removed? I would think so. I need to go back and look at that lawsuit, because if she is making that claim, that would prove that she's not telling the truth in this thing too. And, Casey Cat, thanks for the 5. I agree with MG Law. Stop responding to douche canoe Gingras and pointing out holes in his case. Don't be his research team. Yeah, I do think that has been a problem. Ida B, DKK, thanks for the, or DKK 50. What, I don't know what country that is. What is DKK? Anybody know? It doesn't matter. 7. Oh, it's $7. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. Thanks for the 7. The script sentence is wild because I feel like she's made scripts to keep control of situations / men. I think she's surprised it didn't work now. I think she's definitely surprised. Yeah. Laura Owens, thanks for the 5, says, well, Unhung Hero won't work for me. I need more pregnancy, not less. Oh, Lord. Laura Owens, thanks to the 5, says, the good news, I'm 34 and can only use the pregnancy scam for a few more years. This is true. Kate, C, a.k.a. Snake Plush Kitten, thanks for the 5. Megan, her blood would never be on my hands. I wear latex gloves. Jeez. Rogue Mama, thanks for the 2. Best thing Laura Owens did, brought us together. That's true. Tracy Fagan, thanks for the 5. She's like a 2-year-old that throws a tantrum until they get their way. Yeah. Or holds their breath. You know how some toddlers will hold their breath until they turn blue and pass out? That's what this feels like. E. Poindexter, thanks for the 5. Can we have Dr. Muffins evaluate this woman? I have mentioned that several times about how wonderful that would be. Christine Rose, thanks for the 5. This blog should be titled Monster Energy for the Soul. Unhung Hero, even I can't fix Laura Owens. Oh boy, that's the first time you've ever said that about anybody. I can't believe it. Jennifer Oktok, thanks for the $14 Canadian. I asked you to do a live and this is amazing. The panel, the topic, the chat. Thank you so much, Megan. You're welcome. You know, I struggled with it, frankly, because this is something that's like, it's like a minefield, right? It's a minefield. Someone is saying, if I hurt myself, it's going to be your fault. How do you even respond to that? How do you? And I think that the only way to do that is to show that this is a pattern, that it is manipulation, and I think it could also be related to legal strategy. Other than that, if it's real, then her family ought to be getting her help that she needs immediately and not allowing her to do this anymore. Tracy Fagan, thanks for the 5. This is not a game. We don't want her dead. We want her to get help. Absolutely. 100%. Heather Sparrow, thanks for the 5. Thanks for your coverage, Megan. Can we get some minor perjury today? That song is I almost said a gangbang. Is a bang bang banger. Maybe, I don't know. I'm keeping it on the I'm keeping it a little more serious today because of the topic. So I think I'm going to say no to that for now, for today's stream, but come back to future streams because I'm sure that we will continue to use them. All right. We are going to move on now to the pattern. So.
You got people paying here saying that they want her to get help and not hurt herself. So for the record, that's kind of a big deal, you know, in the way of people wanting to help her.
It is. It is, and I think that it's legitimate, and we have never said anything else. Nobody here has ever said anything else than we want her to get help. Now, in December of 2016, we have 2 court documents here that talk about suicidal ideation. This is in Mike Maricini's case. And I have them blown up here and highlighted so that we can read them. On December 9th, 2016, Laura called me. This is a statement by her mother, and sounded very upset. She told me she felt worthless and that she didn't feel like there was a reason for her to live anymore. She said she felt guilt for aborting the baby based on pressure from Mike under the pretense that he cared about her and wanted to have a future with her. She said something along the lines of, "This is it, I just can't do this anymore." Then she hung up the phone. I contacted Mike and told him that I thought Laura was in a vulnerable situation. I told him I didn't know what the status of their relationship was, but asked him to please answer Laura's call if she tried to contact him. Now, you all remember those text messages of her parents begging him to just tell her whatever she wants to hear so that she won't kill herself, and then we'll help you get out of this later? That's what was being done to him that day. Later that day, I found out Laura went to the hospital, so I went there to be with her. The doctors also told us that Laura's suicidal feelings may have been triggered by the new antidepressants she had started taking a few weeks prior. They adjusted her medication and she was released within a couple hours. Here's Laura's statement about that same event. On December 9, 2016, I felt suicidal and reached out to my parents for help. I was overwhelmed and felt bad about the abortion and Mr. Maricini's hatred toward me. My parents contacted Mr. Maricini and pleaded with him to be supportive and intervene. I did not want to talk with him and ignored his calls for several hours. My parents called the police and had them come check on me. The police took me to the ER where I was given IV fluids. I spoke with a psychologist and was released later that night after I had calmed down and no longer felt like I was a risk to myself. Contrary to Mr. Maricini's allegation in his declaration, I was never treated in an inpatient facility. My psychiatrist adjusted my medication after this. Okay. So that's one indication that she told Mike Maricini that she was
something there's not really adding up to me. If you're staying somewhere for a while and having to talk to a psychologist before you're discharged, like in the nighttime, like I don't know, that sounds a little bit like an inpatient to me, but
it
I don't
does.
know, you know.
Maybe it was emergent. It was ER. It was an ER,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they sent her to a psychiatrist or
Yeah,
psychologist.
they don't. When we're in the ER, the regular doctors, you know, they're not psychologists, so that's why they actually consult my office. Is to have someone who specializes in psych, not necessarily a psychiatrist, but somebody who specializes in psych, determine if they need to be seen by the psychologist. And if we decide that they need to be seen by the psychiatrist or psychologist, that's when something like that would happen. I couldn't really tell you how it is wherever she was, but that's just kind of like sus to me. But yeah.
Scarlett Sullivan says this feels too personal. Yeah, I just would like to remind you that these documents are public court records. She put this in public court records. Okay, so yes, it does feel too personal. I wish we never had heard about any of this. I wish she had never done any of this. I wish she had not gone to a judge and tried to take these men to court over this stuff. Because, yeah, it is. It's very icky, right? Lauren, your typing, it sounds like...
Sorry about that.
It sounds like Darth Vader might be descending. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's very strange.
I've been trying to mute myself.
It's okay. All right. So let's go to here. Now, this is on February 27th of 2017. This is one of the text messages. This is from Laura to Mike Maricini that I have not read yet. This is something that she sent to him. Since you agreed to hear me out, I wanted to send you a note. I've told you this repeatedly, but every day I'm thinking of anything I can do to make you smile and improve your day. Again, please remember this is the man that she claims tried to kill her through strangulation multiple times. Your happiness is my happiness, and giving you pleasure gives me more joy than anything I could do for myself. I don't understand why, but as I mentioned on the phone, you truly do think I have other motives, and the side of me that you choose to see is a bad one. After our conversation tonight, I see that you view me as selfish, booking trips for my own benefit, insecure, dramatic, having these conversations because you think I enjoy them, manipulative, always trying to think of ways to lock you in, and a liar. You have been open with me that you think I have lied about the radio situation, when I have only told you what I have been told, and I have no control of David and whether or not he calls, texts, emails. His status as an agent is intimidating to me, and I don't want to change his positive view of me by trying to push him. These are all horrible qualities, and no one has ever questioned my intentions like that before. If anything, I wear my heart on my sleeve too much, and I am horrible at hiding my true emotions. Meanwhile, I literally always try to see the good in you in every situation, and have a hard time thinking you could ever be the bad guy. After my 26 years, this is the conclusion that I have come to. The point of a relationship is to be your partner's number one advocate, to look for the best in them, but also be honest enough to tell them when they are not being that way, to show them appreciation, have things to look forward to, and be moving forward in a direction at all times so that you are always working to help the other one achieve individual goals as well as being the best couple you can be. Feeling suicidal was the most terrible feeling I've ever had in my life. I am so embarrassed and sorry to my family members. I have such high goals and standards I have set for myself, and am very proud of the progress I have made. I truly feel more confident than I ever have in my life and have huge goals for my future. I completely understand that my actions have consequences, but I want someone to believe in me unless I prove them otherwise. You constantly seem to doubt me and say you can't emotionally trust me, and I don't know if or how I can ever prove you wrong. I mean, so far, it sounds like the problems between her and Mike are brought on by her behavior, and she's admitting that. She hasn't said once yet here that there's any domestic violence issues with him. She's just begging him to stick around. As things stand, I feel like I have zero control of my future because everything is resting in your hands. Obviously, no one knows what is going to happen in life, but I do want a consistent, growing, and loving relationship. I want to help people who were in my situation in the past. I want to have standards for myself and be with someone who respects me. When you are so adamant that you don't want to have it be known to your close friends, let alone social media, which only matters to me because it is symbolic of how you view me, that you are with me, it greatly hurts me. It makes me feel discouraged and disrespected. I'm so proud of the person you are now and who you are trying to become in the future. And I have so much respect for you because of that. If the situation were reversed, I would be your biggest supporter and do everything I could to let you know how special you were to everyone and how much I believed in your ability to learn and move past such a horrible situation. And if you gave me your word that it wouldn't happen again, I would believe you. I completely love you, Mike, and regardless of whether or not we work out, I know my feelings for you have always been honest and genuine, even if you question them. I know that you aren't there with me on feelings, and it's been hard for me to believe that because mine have been so strong. I feel hurt. I want to move forward in a better direction with you than we have gone before. Anyway, I realize this is a long text, but it needed to pour my heart out. Again, no mention of him being a horrific domestic abuser. This is his response to her. Okay, this is going to be hard to respond to, but I'll give you my best shot. Your first paragraph is incorrect. It's plain and simple. I think you're very generous and always wanting to do something fun, which is why you book the trips. But you usually do it without me knowing about it or chatting with me. Why does this keep popping up? Stop doing that. Don't get me wrong. I really appreciate Iceland, Napa, and Dubai. This is after Iceland. This is after Iceland. No mention of him trying to kill her in Iceland, like she has claimed. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate Iceland, Napa, and Dubai, but I've had talks with you previously about no more trips until we figure out us. If you remember correctly, I had to be convinced to go to Iceland after what transpired. In regards to David, I know you do not dictate what happens with him, but I think you have said things that were unnecessary and probably slowed down this process. At this point, I look at the radio not happening. I'm happy it worked out for you, but I'm not going to invest any more time into. In regards to the horrible qualities comment, I think you're missing the point of why I have trust issues. First, you lied about pregnancy, not once, but twice. Then you have these suicidal thoughts that were terrible and lasted for months. It was manic depression and it threw me for a whirlwind. I don't think you realize the amount of stress that it put on me and my family. So yes, I'm going to take my time when it comes to a decision. I'm sorry if that doesn't meet your timeline, but I need to look out for myself in regards to happiness. In the third paragraph, you talk about suicide and not having control of the relationship. First, I'm glad that you understand that your actions have consequences, but I don't think you truly understand, or else you would stop asking me the same question on a daily basis. When talking about control of your relationship, I don't get that statement at all. Because I'm unsure about you emotionally means I have all the power. You can pull the plug whenever you want, just like me, so neither of us has more power than the other. I think because it's not going exactly the way you want, it means that I have more power, which is not correct. I think you need to approach this maturely and see that I was affected by it. If I don't get over it in time, then I can see where an ultimatum is given. But you ask me the same question on a daily basis, like I'm going to change my mind in 10 hours. I know you love me. I really care about you, which is why I still want to keep seeing and spending time with you. I think we connect in a lot of ways, and that we have more pros than cons. I just need you to take a step back and relax when it comes to pushing me towards what you want. I've always been honest with you. I've never steered you the wrong way, so I would appreciate you just relaxing on the interview questions on a daily basis. If we go on the trip, I think it will be really fun. If we don't, I totally understand and would not hold anything against you. So I don't know which trip he's talking about. Maybe this is before Iceland, or it's the Dubai one. I don't know. I think Dubai came after Iceland. I'm not sure. We'd have to go back and find out. But does this sound like the monster that she's describing in her recent blog post? This man who tried to kill her, who's saying, I really care about you. I want to work it out with you. But I have trust issues because of the lying. And this is, I just,
You can also kind of see here, like, after saying all that and, like, being empathetic and like, really thoughtful with her, why he might be kind of reactive if she, like, got him to where he was stuck on a plane and couldn't leave and then brought this stuff up again and was, like, poking him with it.
right, right. Then we have August 3rd, 2023, where she emails the Hope Conference regarding Clayton. Now, this is an Arizona Suicide Prevention Hope Conference, and she emailed them to get them to fire him. Now, it's very hard to read because it's blurry, so I assure you that I transcribed it properly. Let me back up. I transcribed it up here in the highlighted text. This is what she says. I have been very scared of the future and lonely and confided to Clayton on July 30th that I was feeling borderline suicidal. He chose to ignore me, knowing that if I hurt myself, I would kill his unborn twins. Which is a bizarre thing to say because she's offering to abort them at the same time.
Yeah.
I still have not received a response. The only reason I have felt this way is because of him and how he has treated me throughout the process. Again, blaming someone else for her suicidal feelings. He has acted like I was ugly and not worth of his time or effort to try to date despite our situation. He has demonized me, been extremely demeaning, and has gaslit me through the process. I've never seen any of that from Clayton, demonizing her. I've heard him say he wants her to get well. He wants her to
Or
get
calling
help.
her ugly.
He's never called her ugly.
No, definitely not.
Based on how he has treated me, he is the last person who is qualified to give a speech about suicide prevention and intervention when he doesn't even care if the mother of his children took that final action. Okay, so we have suicide threats with Mike Maricini, suicide threats with Clayton. We have suicide threats, like, just everywhere in this. Dave. We read the one about Dave. That Dave shared with us today. Wanting to blame other people for this. And now I want to play some clips from the hearing where she says Clayton was smug, which I don't see any smugness here. I see a man telling the judge what he's been through and why this has happened. So let's watch this one about how she made this public, and she is the one who brought this on herself. Wait, I'm going to have to boost this. Volume boost. Here we go.
To quash this. I've been trying to come to a solution. I've never wanted this to be public. I never wanted like this to get out there and be such a big deal, but this individual did and made sure that it got out. I would just, again, I would like the order of protection from justice harassment. I would like that because this individual is an aggressor, and if she will not continue to come after me, or she will continue to come after me unless I cut off communication. And so this is whether or not I responded, it's the sheer fine to.
So she is the aggressor, he says. She will not stop. She is the one who did this. She is the one who asked for the media attention. And this one is where he's telling the judge it didn't have to go this far. Let me pull this up. That she was responsible for it going this far. Really? Are we going to do the spinning thing? Like, we're going to... Really, YouTube? Can you not?
Continues to do similar repeated patterns of behavior, and it can be extremely stressful. I have been very, very, very stressed out by receiving these constant influx of messages that could have all been solved had she just took a prenatal paternity test all the way back at the earliest time that we were able to do so. None of this had to have happened. Didn't have to take it this far. But the point is, the point I'm making is she never actually wanted to take it until I went public and stated I signed up for a prenatal paternity test. Now she needs to schedule her part. I then placed that upon her to schedule her portion. And then, as people knew that she had to schedule it, she then scheduled. But the test came back, little to no fetal DNA.
So he had to go public with the prenatal testing because she kept canceling the appointments and wouldn't follow through on them. And so he had to do something to make her actually follow through. And then again, it comes back little to no fetal DNA. Now, this one is Clayton telling the judge that she threatened him with suicide, and he finds that harassing, like anyone would.
They were making these claims, and they opened a court case against me. And then from there, I do have a large following. I am a public figure. I celebrity, I suppose. I don't like that word. But I have a large following, and then that audience, I cannot control what they do. But they then went and found that court case in the system and found her name, and then started to talk about her online. And then Laura, I assume, was feeling the pressure from it being online and her name being out there. She then sent me this alarming message, which again I felt was harassing, but to threaten to kill herself. I don't think anybody should ever receive a message such as that.
All right.
I'm gonna.
Okay. Now, we do not have, at least I am not aware if the, I think it was I think he said it was July 30th. I can't remember the date that he just said, but he just said she sent him an email with a death threat. And I don't think I have that email. I'm going to ask to get it so that we can add it to the pattern and practice evidence that this woman does this when she wants something. She will threaten suicide. She's done it in many cases. Now, Greg Gillespie tells me that she has done that to him as well. He believes he has text messages that say it, but he hasn't gone through them to find it yet. He may do that. Hopefully we'll get it from Greg as well. Greg was not able to put all his evidence into court, so a lot of his text messages haven't been seen. But this is something that, I think it's reasonable for people to say, we're not sure why you're doing this, but we don't think it's because you're going to harm yourself, because it's been done over and over and over many, many years, used as a weapon to get something that you want. And it's very ugly. This is ugly, ugly behavior. It's bad behavior. And the fact that her attorney is encouraging this behavior, I am horrified by that. If he really believed that she was in a danger to herself, then he should have driven her himself to get care, to get treatment. I'm horrified by David Gingras. David Gingras, shame on you. I'm ringing the shame bell on you right now. Shame on you.
Shame.
Even if he doesn't,
Shame.
even if he doesn't care as much as she thinks he does, he can clearly tell that she thinks he's her rock. So he should have done her the courtesy of, like you said, driving her somewhere to go see somebody.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that today. I wanted to, address this in a serious way, because I think that it is a serious topic. Looks like, my local stream just ended. Well, it's probably, we hit the 3-hour mark. That's why. This is a serious topic. It needs a serious approach. I think we did that here today. No one wants Laura Owens to hurt herself. No one wants Laura Owens dead. That is absolutely a lie. And it should not be continued. Her attorney should not be allowing this to continue. He should not have published that. And if he's doing it for some kind of strategy to make it so that she doesn't have to show up on June 10th for her trial, that's just more abuse being heaped on Clayton. And that's how we're going to see it. If she does not show up for her trial and does not face the music, this is her chance. This is where she's going to get her justice. She keeps saying she wants justice. Well, this is her moment to get it. She has been through the justice system. This is how we are now at the trial, and you cannot, because it's going poorly for you, throw a fit and now say that you're not going to show up because of this. That's outrageous. So I think that this is strategy. If it isn't strategy, then somebody close to Laura needs to get her that help that she needs, because this is an outrageous thing. To blame other people, to claim that other people will have blood on their hands when you are personally in the same room with her while she's doing these things, I'm imagining, in the same room or on the phone, and you don't go get her some help. All right, Lauren, what's coming up for you? What are you doing on your channel, and where can people find you, and how do they, what are you going to be doing? Are we going to be playing a game anytime soon? I want to play that game with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what day. Sometime before the end of the weekend, though. Maybe they're tomorrow night or the next couple nights. I'm not sure.
All right, well, let me know.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
know,
for sure.
'cause
You should
I
play with
wanna
us.
do it.
Yeah,
But
it'll be good.
you
And
guys
Brad.
need to get a. Yeah, it'll be fun. You guys need to get over to Lauren's channel and subscribe. The Rogue Mama, thank you for putting her link in the chat. I appreciate that. And you guys know where to find me. Check me out on meganfox.locals.com. And look, we care about everybody in this case, including Laura Owens. We have been giving her good advice from the beginning, which is stop. Stop this. Come clean. Go get the help you need. Turn your life around. Do positive things. Stop doing this negative shit to everyone. And everything will be fine. And the world will stop talking about it. But if you continue, if you persist to do these things and to tell these tales that are so easily debunked, well, we're going to keep reporting on it. I'm sorry, but that's the way it's going to be. And I wish her the best and the best, all the best. I wish her all the best. All the best.
All the best, all the best, all the best, all the very best. All the best, all the best, all the best, all the very best. Megan Fox.
That's it, guys. See you later. Eight. That is not the that's not the end.
Wait, what?
It's not the end.
All right, I'm gonna go.
I missed 6 super chats. Okay, you go. I'll
yeah,
get
I'll
to the
see you
super
later.
chats and then we're done.
Bye.
Bye. Liz Bird, thanks for the 5. Strange how the December blog her parents' link posted with their support was on her Facebook yesterday and has now disappeared. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to her Facebook page. Boxing for Life, thanks for the 10. Any response to your request for her communications direct with the judge? Not yet. The response I got was, we have a ton of these and we don't know when we're going to get it back to you. That was the response, which, yeah. And that wasn't really acceptable to me, but what are you going to do? K-Matt Red Queen, thanks for the 5. Laura has met her match legally, like Lynette has met Jeremy legally, her scamming her previous man. I know. Jackie Holenbeck became a YouTube member. Welcome to the Fox Den. I hope you find lots of friends here. You will. You should. Shannon T, thanks for the 5. Can we call out the suicidal hotline number in case people in help need it? Sure. Let's look it up. Now, of course, this is in the U.S. If you are not in the U.S., you have your own number. And the crisis... Oh, it's 988. 988. You just dial 988, and you will be connected to the Suicide Crisis Lifeline. So, 988, if you are looking for help, and you should. If you're having those thoughts, if you are experiencing that type of darkness, definitely do that. Oh, and Rogue Mama says she's been posting it all stream. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. I appreciate the mods. Thank you, mods, for being here. And for real this time, this is the end of the show. See you.
I was so lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna this time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna stay. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've seen
problem is he
Tamara
should have
John's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yeah.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall what
and
he
some
went
holy
into,
water.
Mr. Dutson,
And a
as
cross,
far as
a crucifix.
bedroom?
May the
Do you
power of
recall,
Christ
or no,
compel you.
No, I don't.
You
So
realize
Miss
this house
Hubbard,
was infested with
just up for
succubuses,
that,
and
there's a photo here with you of what it, yes. Do you recall what that was there
Succuloters.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
oh my god.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why
Robert
you wanted to
Melanie
drown her.
Iglesias,
Your
and that
next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Vasquez.